scared to the point of being unable to walk too. Now it was Di Xiaowan's turn to speak. As if my sister-in-law would need to fight with others when she already has such an outstanding man like my brother. Let me guess, you are another shameless animal trying to seduce her, aren't you? Bai Yan immediately shot a questioning gaze at the demon princess. Did you just indirectly accuse your brother as a shameless animal? Well, that is definitely what I just said, but I'm not admitting it. Bai Yan smiled and nodded. Indeed, your brother is not a shameless animal, he's a shameless, cunning and insidious fox. Now Di Xiaowan was ready to cry. She knows it's just a matter of time before the word gets out if Bai Yan would go this far. Glaring now at the cause of her mistake. Damn bastard. If it weren't for you then I wouldn't have bashed on my brother. Tell me where that bitch of sister of yours is this instant. Shuddering at the order, Yi Ming's first instinct was to flee. Sadly for him though, Shu Yi had moved ahead and blocked off his path. Want to run? You bullied Bai Yan first, and now claim to be my fiancé. If I let you go now then how am I supposed to show my face again in public? Smiling dangerously, the little princess of the Holy Land cracks her knuckles in preparation. Sister Yi. Wiping his sloppy mouth with a rub of his sleeve, Bai Xiaochen softly calls out. This big baddie is the worst. He actually wanted mother to service him earlier, and rationed. She could only be his concubine. Visit my site on Cat Translation. If you wish to read ahead of public releases, the effects were instantaneous. From multiple directions, 3 powerful gazes were pinning Yi Ming's body like blades flying out of them sheaths. It's so suffocating that the man couldn't even move at this point. Xiaoyan Xiaowan, should we neuter this bastard right now? Sure enough, Chu Yi was the first to take action by actually drawing her blade out to the man's neck for real. Neuter him. Di Xiaowan huffs a snort. That would just dirty our hands with his filthiness. Just wait until we leave next time. Along the way is the demon forest. Just toss the bastard into the forest, and the demon beasts would take care of him just fine. Xiaowan is right in her reasoning. Lan Xiaoyan cousin gives a serious nod. Besides, we still need him to lead us to that sister of his. What's the name again? Oh yeah, it's Ying. I will show her what it means to connive after my cousin-in-law. All right. In a blink of an eye, what used to be a lively yard was now empty and quiet. Mother, does Auntie and them not like me anymore? Why are they not taking me along when they're looking for that bad woman? All grieving in his cute little face, Bai Xiaochen asks in earnest. Bai Yan calmly replies. You can go and see too. With your Auntie Xiaoyan there, I'm not afraid of the other 2 making too much trouble. Among the 3 troublemakers that came today, only Lan Xiaoyan was a bit normal. As for the remaining 2, one's a well-known witch of the Holy Land, and the other's a sweet dumbaklutz. If Bai Yan had to rely on anyone to keep things from going overboard, it would be her cousin. Really? The baby boy's eyes lit up over the permission to go. Come little rice, we can see the show too. I love you mother. Scared to the point of being unable to walk 3. Without giving his feline friend a chance to say anything there, the baby boy's hand has already yanked that tail into a gripping hold. Together, one tiger and one boy, they disappeared like the gusting wind in pursuit of the 3 ladies. Meanwhile in the background still, Wenru was putting on a weeping face the entire way. He's pained by the Dan pills that's been left scattered on the floor, due to Bai Xiaochen's outburst just now. What a spendthrift, a spendthrift! Why can't they be given to me instead? What's the matter? Noticing the oddity, Bai Yan's first glimpse of the grievance in her subordinate's mood was the fact that he was sorrowfully picking up the leftovers from the ground like a beggar. In light of the question, Wenru didn't answer like he usually does in an upbeat attitude. Instead, the young man only staggered back to his room and shut the door like a dispirited ghost. Now that's left the woman all confused and clueless. Since Bai Yan herself didn't know what's going on, she has decided to ignore it out of consideration for the boy's past action. There's just too many oddballs constantly running around in her life, so another Wenru here makes hardly any difference. The Elder Assembly Hall, one of the most important places within the medicine sect. I don't know what happened, but jumping suddenly called over half of us away something. Now he's not paying any attention to the alchemy convention, says a red-robed elder inside the chamber hall. Yeah, this convention is usually hosted by the young master. Now that he's gone, everything is falling into CEO Wang's hands, and it's becoming a mess, especially how he tried to expel the disciple from the Holy Land at the persuasion of that Ying. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. These elders were all getting a throbbing migraine over the recent events of the past 2 days. They want the real lord or young lord to step in, or the very least to give them permission to interfere. As things stand now, they are helpless. Everyone, this is indeed our fault. If the time comes that the Holy Land does come seeking answers, we are going to have to endure the consequences. I heard that the position of the disciple is not high, so the Holy Land wouldn't really come make trouble because of someone like that, right? Damn it. If things do go that way, then it's just going to benefit that misty fairy house. While these elders were negotiating on how to deal with the aftermath, a man dressed in protective gear had suddenly barged into their meeting. Based on how agitated and flustered the person was, it's obvious he did so in the heat of the moment after running all the way. Who allowed you to come in? A yellow-robed elder roared, slamming his fist against the table. Crumbling to the floor at the yell, the person stutters profusely. Elders, we are in trouble. The Holy Lands witch is here. What? The witch is coming. Why did she come here? Is it because she found out about us bullying her sex disciple? This witch have always been short-tempered, and is definitely going to raise a storm. It shouldn't be. The news couldn't have spread so fast, but letting her know about it will definitely cause an uproar. Damn that Ying. If this matter is really related to her, then I won't let her off the hook. The yellow-robed elder was blistering red due to the anger in himself. Perhaps it's the effect of Chu Yi's nickname being so prominent, but the only one left who's still showing calm was the red-robe elder, who first spoke up earlier. But in truth, ahem, the witch coming isn't anything to be freaking out about. It's fine, everyone, and be optimistic. We are the medicine sect. We just need to send someone to look after the girl, so she doesn't cause any harm. Though he says that, the trembling legs underneath his robe said otherwise. Earth-shattering 333. Not long later, the guard soon returned with another person to stand in front of Bai Chongfeng's presence. Tell me, is there anyone who came to our medicine sect carrying the invitation slip from the Luoho kingdom? Taking a sip from his teacup, the old senior casually asks despite his heart tensing up into a knot. Reporting to sect leader, that there is indeed a person who came with thy item. Try as he might in being respectful, the man's voice nevertheless carried a pang of agitation when speaking. It couldn't be helped. The poor person was nothing more than an individual in charge of watching the entrance gates. The very fact that he could gain an audience with the Lord was a gift in of itself. Snapped. Perhaps it's the knot within him being relieved, or he's just lost on how to react. But Bai Chongfeng's tense fingers had lost their grip, and allowed the liquid to flow onto his pants. Is it a girl coming from there? Is she beautiful? Where is she? Take me to see her. All excited in his face, the senior jerks up from the chair. Hearing this dumbstruck burst of demand from their lord, the individuals present were all frozen over, their faces disbelieving like realities playing with their ears. It can't be. The lord is going through a second spring, because the madam is gone for so long? But no matter what, going after a young maiden not even half his age is too much. Sect leader, gulping hard. The gatekeeper got even more nervous. But the one who came isn't a girl, it's a boy. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Something definitely cracked within the old fella's heart. Slouching back down to his chair, Bai Chongfeng's eyes were filled with nothing but decadence and frustration. It's actually not her. She should have received the invitation from Zhangpeng. Why did she not come to the medicine sect? Is it because she hates me? At the moment, countless unnecessary thoughts were running through this grandfather's head, making him even more nervous and unsettling to everyone nearby. But she shouldn't have known about Zhangpeng's background, nor their relationship. So why? Can it be some idiot from my medicine sect did something to her while they were outside? That's why she refused to come after receiving the invitation slip? SEC sect leader. Shaking right down to his legs upon seeing the ever-increasingly dark face on the old man. The poor gatekeeper could barely keep his words clear. What else? With eyes still ready to kill. Bai Changfeng's tone sounded unnervingly cold. That is, Miss Yi Ying is seeking an audience outside. Tell her to go. But the Miss Shi, bang, slamming his hand against the desk in fuming rage. Who are you calling the miss? My medicine sect have no such miss in my household. Indulgence with the face-slapping one. How can this old Madame Yi think about letting her grandson become the successor to the medicine sect, when Bai Zhangping is still alive? Isn't that the same as cursing the young lord to be without child in this lifetime? The outburst from the old granny was completely overheard by the elders, who came rushing over just now. So imagine their shock and disbelief after knowing the witch was also present. Too arrogant. The yellow-robed elder points accusingly at the perpetrator, his breath huffing hard like he's about to pass out. When did my medicine sect become your Yi families? It's enough that you would attempt to make the young lord take your granddaughter Yi Ying as his goddaughter. Now you are going as far as to make your grandson the future heir? How outrageous. The sect leader is still alive, and our young lord will stay healthy for many years to come. And what's that nonsense about the witch saying this Yi Ming is claiming to be her fiancé? Oh heavens, this Yi family. Where do they get such audacity from? First it was the attempt to marry Yi Ying to the young lord of the Holy Land several years back. Now they're trying to have Yi Ming take the princess of the Holy Land as his wife. Based on what? Grandmother. It was then that Yi Ming made a frantic scream to the old lady, his eyes showing great regret and despair. The whole reason he would dare say something like that earlier in front of Chu Yi, and the rest was because there's nobody else around. Even if the other side made the claim he said something like that, there's no proof. But now, there's not only the disciples and outsiders coming to investigate the commotion, even the members of the Elder Council have arrived. I didn't say anything wrong. Old Madame Ye's neck shrank a notch, indicating her level of guilt. In actual fact, she regretted it as soon as she finished speaking, but since she has said it already, she couldn't exactly take it back. Grandmother, what's happening? Finally, the ruckus has brought Yi Ying out from the back as well after the loud noises. Slowly coming forward, the girl immediately furrowed her brow upon seeing Chu Yi's figure. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. She had once saw the witch a few years ago, but that's only from afar. Therefore, her only feeling was that the foe looked familiar and couldn't recognize who it was. Why is it so noisy outside? It couldn't be an attendee of the alchemy convention is coming to make trouble, right? Squinting her eyes, Yi Ying puts on a dissatisfied expression. It's best to simply throw these sorts of people out. I won't allow any form of cheating no matter what they say or do. My heart is stern and true to the medicine sect. Now that just confused the daylights out of Chu Yi. Scratching the back of her head, the witch turns to her two friends who promptly returned with a clueless shrug of their own. What does she mean by that? Lan Xiaoyan asks, baffled still. Di Xiaowan shook her head and answered. I don't know, maybe she has a problem in her head? What alchemy convention? I am here to get even with that Yi Ying. Where is that person? Get her out here this instant. Cold in her tone, Di Xiaowan grew dangerous in her aura. Auntie Xiaowan. It was then that a little steam bun with her white kitty came running over from the rear, his voice soft and childish. This bad woman is Yi Ying. She not only connived after Batty Father, she also wants to snatch me away. Yi Ying never said she would kidnap the baby boy. Nevertheless, that won't stop Bai Xiachen from adding oil to the fire in the worst way possible. Then just as Yi Ying was still stunned over the claim against herself, the demon princess has already rushed over to send a loud smacking slap across the girl's face. Who allowed you to connive after my brother? Who allowed you to try to steal my nephew? And who allowed you to compare yourself with my sister-in-law? Indulgence with the face slapping too. The slap has left Yi Ying utterly dumbfounded to the point where she had to take a good minute to come back to her senses. Ah, you bitch! I'm going to tear you apart for hitting my granddaughter. Old Madame Yi screams, running for the perpetrator in order to exact revenge. However, before that old woman could do anything, Di Xiaowan have already sent a mega kick against her obese body. A few tumbling rolls later, the old hag now laid flat on the ground. Yet none moved at her command. Instead, everyone only turned to the livid-looking elders that's been watching the entire thing unfold. They knew this wouldn't turn out well, so the posture of the medicine sect members instinctively backed off a step. As for Elder Lu Zhong and the rest, they wanted to tear Yi Ying apart right now. The only reason they didn't rush over earlier was because they had no proper plan to appease Chu Yi. Not because they didn't want to. This is over. This time, no matter how much we appease this witch, we're screwed. You want to hit me? Under the angry eyes of Yi Ying and others, Chu Yi only snarled a snicker. My father wouldn't even dare to hit me, and you're threatening me? Who the heck are you? You're not even a disciple here. What does the medicine sect have an opinion about me, about our holy land? Holy land? Yi Ying was gobsmacked by the news. This girl too? You are nothing but a disciple of the Holy Land. Don't get ahead of yourself with that arrogance. Even if your sect leader comes in person today, our medicine sect won't let you off so easy. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Peng. Yi Ying didn't even get to finish her threat when an immense push tossed her aside. This infuriated the girl, of course. And that's on top of her already flaming mood. However, that flame was instantly smothered out at the recognition of who the individual was. Elder Tian Xian Yu, how come you are here? The man named Tian Xian was the very same yellow-robed elder who spoke up at the meeting hall. After forcefully pushing aside the impudent girl, the senior promptly made a flattering smile. Princess, how come you are here? He originally wanted to call out with the nickname witch, but thankfully his steady mindset has managed to stop that horrible mistake in the nick of time. No, this is definitely a mistake. Our Lord is doing just fine, and will continue to do just fine for many years to come. This Yi Ming is nothing but a distant relative of the sect leader. What successor? Elder Tian Xian shoots a harsh glare at the Yi family members. As for that talk about being your fiancé, I never heard of such nonsense. That's right. Princess, you are both beautiful and talented. Only the best of the best out there is worthy of you. This Yi Ming humph, he's not even worthy of being your shoe licker. Princess, everything is the Yi family's fault. It has nothing to do with us. So you see, can you spare the precious treasures in our medicine sect? The elders were surrounding Chu Yi from every angle, afraid the girl would slip away to rob them dry using this opportunity. Indulgence with the face-slapping three elders. Pausing for a sec, Yi Ying nervously asks, what do you mean by those words? What princess? The princess of the Holy Land could only refer to one individual, so she wanted to confirm it again. Yi Ying. Lu Zhong, red robe. Face got dreadfully cold. How dare you threaten the princess here? Even if I had 100 lives in my hand, I would never dare to say something so outrageous like hitting the princess. Boom. First it was the massive explosion in Yi Ying's head, followed closely by the empty state of mind. As a result, all traces of blood have left the girl's face as she faltered backwards in disbelief. No. Impossible. This woman is the princess of the Holy Land, the one envied by all the females in this world. Impossible. A shrewd scream suddenly burst out from the ground. It was old Madame Yi, her face twisted and enraged by the truth. She resents everyone, including the world. This wild wench couldn't possibly be the princess of the Holy Land. Impossible. All of you must be lying to me. It's a mistake. Yes, they're either lying or making a mistake. How can this uncultivated wild wench be a princess of such a great power? The Lord of the Holy Land must be blind to love such a rude, impudent girl. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Thank goodness my Yi Ying is not like this. She's clever and well-behaving, the polar opposite of what is bad. Hey! Shifting her head over to her friend then, Chu Yi's smile was sinister and scary. Di Xiaowan, want to have a bet on who can leave more bruises? Okay. The demon princess readily nods in return. I will be responsible for the lower body, and you the upper half. As for the face, we will give it to Lan Xiaoran. How dare she try to snatch my brother and nephew? Let's see how she will do that after we are through with her. Rolling up her sleeve, Chui Yi slowly steps forward in an intimidating manner. Now Ying was truly frightened as the three girls surrounded herself. She could tell there's no escape, and the impending future couldn't be good in any form. For some reason, the sky was extraordinarily brilliant this afternoon. However, this wondrous scene was soon shattered when a heart-wrenching scream rocked the air, and the occupants on this mountain. Perhaps it's due to the deadline quickly drawing close, but aside from the disciples and uninvolved individuals, pretty much all of the alchemists coming for convention had ignored the commotion. They're far too busy with their own work to care about another's misery. My granddaughter, my precious granddaughter. When everyone eventually dispersed after being done with the show, it was old Madame Yi who rushed over to the girl's side first. The old granny was trembling all over as she examined the dazed-looking patients. "Answer me please, Inger, please answer grandmother." Still bloodshot in the eyes, Ying didn't react as she eyed the sky. However, the swollen sting on her bruises eventually brought her back to attention. "Grandma, I want revenge." There's not an ounce of beauty left in the girl's outer contour, only a corrosive hatred that could melt the target. "I want vengeance for today's pain." But, if the other party really is the Holy Land's princess, then how? Indulgence with the face slapping for. I must be Bai Zhangping's daughter, and I must be the young lady of this medicine sect. I must be feared by all like that Chu Yu, and I will have all those who mocked me look at me with adoration. In the past she was only keen on taking the young lady position for this place, but now, it's not enough anymore. Why didn't you marry Bai Changfeng back then? Clenching her fingers until the nails were piercing into her own flesh, Ying stares intently at the old granny. Even if you couldn't become his wife, then why didn't you become his concubine? Would I be in this situation if you had done so back then? I would have been a genuine lady of the medicine sect. This is all your fault, all your fault. The bashing leaves the old woman's head hanging in shame, for she believed the same thing. Back then, she did in fact try to seduce her brother-in-law. Who wouldn't be tempted? A handsome young master with plenty of power and influence. To say Bai Changfeng was the ideal lover of any lady wasn't an understatement. But in the end, everything came to naught after repeated rejection. So who's to blame for this outcome? Of course, in old Madame Yi's eyes it would be her older sister Yi Jing who won in the end. That's right. If not for that slut's existence, then I would be Bai Changfeng's wife. The position of mistress of the medicine sect would also be mine. It's all her fault, all Yi Jing's fault. Don't worry, Inger. I will have you become Bai Zhangping's goddaughter, so you won't be picked on by that bitch from the Holy Land again. Getting up from the floor, old Madame Yi firmly states her decision before heading straight out of the room. Her destination, the courtyard where the Lord resides. As for Yi Ying, who remains lying on the ground, her lips had inexplicably curled into a sinister grin after watching that departing back leave her sight. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Power really is a good thing. I will also get power in the future, and no one can ever rob me of that. While the autumn leaves were falling beautifully today, the old grandpa on the other hand couldn't rest at ease. One for Bai Yan's whereabout, the other for the annoying commotion outside. Where is my son? Tell that brat to get here, so I can know when he is bringing my granddaughter over. Sitting on his stone stool in the garden, Bai Changfeng asks one of the servants. He's the sect leader, so leaving the medicine sect on a whim was out of the question, but Bai Zhangping's different. I will go right away to inquire for you, my lord. One of the servants salutes and retreated in haste. And for the love of God, is she still outside refusing to leave? Furrowing his brow at the screaming voice that's rocking the air, the old grandpa grumbles in annoyance. This naturally irritated the old grandpa to no ends, my lord. Another servant speaks. Old Madame Yi said that if you won't see her, then she won't stop. Going cold in his face, Bai Changfeng's expression promptly turned into a snarling scowl. Fine, let her in. I like to see what sort of trouble she's going to raise this time. Yes, sect leader. The servant went out quick, and returned just as quickly with the old granny in tow. Brother-in-law, You must get justice for me. The voice bordering on the level of screeching. Old Madame Yi suddenly pounced at the sight of her target. Bump. However, instead of allowing the old woman to grab onto himself like most gentlemen would, Bai Changfeng instead raised his leg to stop that body from getting any closer. This wasn't out of spite or anything. He's just too shocked and scared by the person's abrupt movement. If you have something to say, then do it properly. What do you think you are doing by trying to grab onto me? The man's face turned green from disgust at the possible reason. Don't tell me, are you trying to seduce me like you did years ago? Old Madame Ye's complexion flushed hard upon having her intent brought to the forefront. Indeed, she's trying to do exactly that, just that the other side never gave her a chance. Not back then, and most likely not now either. War God White Tiger 4. My son need not be soft-hearted, nor does his pet. If anyone dares to provoke him, then destroying the foolish idiot is all he needs to do. I will tell little master that then. With his head lowered still, little Rice continues to shiver uncontrollably. That immediately roused a flicker of displeasure in the man's expression. Am I that terrifying? I didn't say anything, nor did I do anything yet. Why is everyone so afraid of me? I don't care either way. But if Yin Yin were to see this, then she might mistake it as me picking on this little white tiger. That won't do at all. Little Rice instantly made a 360. From a shivering look, his face now carried a cuddly smile. How could you be terrifying, King? That must be your illusion. But if you could hold back your suffocating aura, then that would be great. Really? How does Mistress and Little Master endure being in front of King's presence? I could barely breath while standing here, yet they could talk so freely like it's nothing. Very well. Loosening that furrowing brow of his, Song has now decided to change his ways. At the very least, while in front of those who his wife cares for anyways. If I don't, then Yin Yin will definitely be angry with me. Popping his tigerly eyes at the quick answer, Little Rice had trouble believing reality. King agreed that easily? Why didn't I speak out at the beginning then? In that short moment where the baby tiger was still lost in his own thoughts. Song's presence have already disappeared from sight following a strong gust of wind. Coming back into the room minutes later, Little Rice remains uncertain whether or not he should carry out the order as told. But then when Song's face came flying out from his mind again in the next moment, any hesitation instantly leaves him. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Mistress, I'm sorry, but it's King who told me to ignore your will. Giving off a glint of guilt in his eyes, Little Rice slowly crawled up to Bai Yan's side. I must do this in secret. Otherwise Mistress would definitely refuse if she finds out. Due to being deep in slumber from her nap, Bai Yan was completely clueless to what's about to happen. Instead, all she felt was a strange influx of energy seeping into her head and prying open a gate to her memories. The sky has been stained red with blood, and the battlefield rocking with agonizing screams. The scene was all too familiar because she had seen this before. It's the very same place that appeared when Song made the contract with her without permission. So why would she see this place again? Queen, I will handle these people while you go find King. Boom. Not even the rivers of time could deter these words from reaching into Bai Yan's heart. It's painful to the point where it's piercing to the heart. No, don't. She cries out without knowing why. Then as her legs moved forward under the guidance of a mysterious force, another attack has come from above. Numerous arrows smashed down, piercing every part of the teen's body in doing so. He protected me just now. A simple dodge would have sufficed, yet he stayed to protect me. And overcome with grief, Bai Yan didn't know why her memories were playing such pictures. It's so painful that she wanted to cry and scream in agony. Indulgence with the face-slapping 6. As Bai Changfeng watched the departing back of that shrew disappear from his eyes, the man's irises were flashing a dead gleam by then. Sect leader. A nearby guard wanted to speak up, but again and again his words were withdrawn out of hesitation. I've already said it there. Taking Yi Ying as a goddaughter will only happen if there's no third-generational heir to the medicine sect. So that outcome would never happen because I've now found my granddaughter, thus making the promise invalid. Haha, by Chang Feng. We have come to visit you at your home. It was then that the old grandpa's train of thought was interrupted by the far-reaching laughter from afar. Frowning at first, the old grandpa had to take a good moment to recognize that voice. Looking up, he eyes the sky for the expected figures to eventually show themselves. But when they did so, he actually became slightly surprised by the lack of a third. How come it's only you two? Where's Chiu Shu Rong? Third. Zheng Qi first and Ren Yi second didn't answer and went silent. What were they supposed to say? Tell Bai Chang Feng that because of Ren Yi's blunder in revealing Bai Yan's whereabouts to Di Song, they now have to keep their third brother at home in order to avoid spilling the beans to their precious disciple? No way. Absolutely not. There's no way they would let others know about something so shameful. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Old 3 is busy at the moment, so it's only us two coming to visit you. Keeping his face straight, Zheng Qi was the one who answered the question like the responsible one. By Chang Feng, we've heard today is the final day of the convention. I'm just wondering, are we too late? No, the both of you are not late at all, just in time in fact. But I'm curious though. You 3 brothers have never been interested in the alchemy convention before. Why the sudden change in heart by sending a Holy Land's disciple this year? Oh, Zheng Qi remains all calm and carefree. Because the one sent over is none other than my precious disciple. Dun. Bai Chang Feng originally wanted to take another sip from his teacup then. However, when he heard that explosive news, he literally spat the liquid out from his mouth and coughed profusely afterwards. Your disciple is here? Raising his head in amazement, the old grandpa's face clearly showed astonishment over the news. Ever since several years ago, when these 3 brothers said they took in a genius disciple, they've been treasuring the individual like their greatest treasure. Even now, he has no information whatsoever about the person, due to their protectiveness. Hold on. Ahumph, excuse me, but what is the name of your disciple again? My disciple's name. Ren Yi had wanted to answer the other side's question, but it was his older brother who hurriedly stopped him with an eye signal. Lord Bai, what sort of bad schemes are you planning there? All smiles, Zheng Qi puts up a cheeky front like a brat. My disciple is not only our precious baby, our Lord is also very fond of her, and even had his daughter become the girl's little follower. So, you can lose the idea of stealing her over to the medicine sect. This bastard actually dares to inquire about my precious disciple's origin. Dream on, we won't be so gullible and let you steal her away. Bai Chang Feng's expression instantly went stiff like a piece of plywood, showing a thin layer of anger. Elder Zheng Qi, what do you mean by that? As if I would need to steal your disciple? Am I that kind of person? I'm telling you now, I couldn't care less about your disciple. I have a granddaughter, and her alchemic skills wouldn't lose out to your disciple in any way. Indulgence with the face-slapping 7. Oh, your daughter is missing already, so where did this granddaughter come from? Ren Yi apparently didn't buy the old fart story about the girl's existence. After all, the other side have on multiple occasions snatched their Holy Land's disciple away using various temptations, whether it be personal or business-wise. The second brother had no reason to want to believe it. Peng. When it came to the last sentence, Bai Chang Feng's face appeared very smug and proud. Now I want to see for myself who this girl is when you say it like that. Your granddaughter, where is she? Show me. Zheng Qi makes a dismissive smile and asked. Want to get news on my granddaughter? Ha! Bai Chang Feng grins gleefully. I've snatched your Holy Land's disciple so often that I'm not going to fall for the same trick. Want to steal my granddaughter away? Dream on. During these days, the 3 bastards over there haven't stopped gloating in front of himself. Saying this, saying that. Therefore he wants to one-up them so very badly right now. Bai Chang Feng, you are overthinking this. I've already got the most powerful disciple, so it's impossible for the likes of you to steal her away. However, I don't mind having both girls compete when the time comes. We can see who has the better air. Fine deal. I am very confident about my granddaughter, so she will not lose to your disciple. In light of having said that, the old grandpa in fact didn't hold much weight in terms of confidence. It's not like he didn't have faith in Bai Yin, but rather it's the repeated delay in bringing the girl over. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. And what if the girl doesn't recognize him as her grandfather? Wouldn't that mean he's already lost before it started? Just thinking about all the ifs and nots was enough to throw the old boy's nerve into disarray. Inwardly, he really wanted to yell at his son for being so slow. If it weren't for this idiot son of mine, then I could already be with Yin Yen and hold my great-grandson in my arms. Why am I staying here suffering these two instead? Haha. Runny heartily bellows out a laugh. Let's go. The winner of this convention will definitely be my disciple. Snorting at that statement, Bai Changfeng refuses to lose the front before things started. You should be glad my granddaughter is not here to contend. Otherwise she'd be the one taking the prize in place of your disciple. This undoubtedly left the old grandpa somewhat dissatisfied inside. After all, the other side was gloating left and right while he's still hoping to meet his granddaughter, that's still nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, inside an exquisite room, Ying was currently lying on her bed staring off into the ceiling. Due to the bruises and bumps on her body, the girl's appearance could only be described as a pig, a sore sight for any female. Miss, a maid comes in through the door with a tub of hot water in hand. Did something happen outside? The patient's voice sounded dry and unpassionate. Miss, the maid bites her lip, unsure what to say. Someone found your love letter inside the young master's room just now. Indulgence with the face-slapping 9. Bai Yin brows tightly furrows up. You're not busy today? Perhaps it's because there's resistance in her tone, but the man's naughtiness quickly subsided and turned into a gentle embrace. Yin Yen, are you mad at me? Mad at me for not keeping you company? Yes. The man curls one corner of his mouth. This is what state teacher directed. State teacher? Pursing her lip, Bai Yan's mind promptly went back to that blood-ridden scene of a battlefield. As a result, the woman's complexion didn't look so good. If the battlefield I saw was one of my past life, then does that mean I also knew Di Tsong in my past? Di Tsong, I want to know your identity. She knew he's the king of the demon realm through the green snake's mouth from before. But aside from that, she knew next to nothing else about this insufferable bastard who takes advantage of herself whenever he can. But now, she desperately wants to learn everything about him, and whether or not they're acquainted in some way prior. The demon realm has prophesied that I can only marry one wife in this lifetime, and that I must wait for her to appear. You are her, the one in the prophecy. Though she's adamant about the prophecy being true or not, Bai Yin nevertheless waited to see what else the man had to say. In addition to these, I'm also the king of the demon realm. Other than that, I got nothing else to say. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Why? Bai Yin widens her eyes at the picturesque man of devilish delight. I don't remember a lot of things, he frowns. I only remember waking up in the palace several hundred years ago. State teacher called me king. So that's how it's been since. What about Xiaowan? Isn't she your sister? Xiaowan is my sister. There's no falseness in that. Us demons are very clear about our bloodline, and could recognize it through that method. It's how I know Xiaochen is my son at first glance. The man's voice turned rasp. Just that when I found her, she was but a little fox sealed within a barrier. And when I released her, the memories, they were all gone as well. Gently closing her eyes at the clarified truth, Bai Yin appears troubled by what she heard. So it's impossible to learn of the past from Di Tsong then. I want to see this state teacher then. Perhaps that state teacher will know everything. What do you want to see him for? Di Tsong's complexion instantly went sourly dark. There's nothing good about seeing him. You only need to see me every day. Squinting her eyes then, Bai Yin makes a grab for the man's collar like a lone shark threatening a victim. You're sure about not letting me meet him? When do you want to meet him? I will arrange it right away. All smiles, Di Tsong yields instantly. I can't hear anything, you two continue. Yin Yan, does this mean you are willing to return to the demon realm with me? Retracting his gaze from the third body after his deathly glare, Di Tsong looks on in anticipation at the enchanting female. caressing her own chin. I only wanted to figure out some questions I have, so I must figure out what that dream means. Is it from a previous lifetime or illusion? But it was at this moment that Bai Yan's lips became smothered once again by the pompous and overbearing man. This time, though, the movements definitely reflected the excitement coursing through Di Tsong's veins. Oh Yin Yan, I have waited for this moment for far too long. From now on and into the future, you are the queen of the demon realm and the mistress of the inner palace. Indulgence with the face-slapping 10. Bai Yan's heart shuddered over the comment, her eyes staring intently at the other side. One love for one life. Can this man really do it? Yin Yan, the position of queen has been vacant for many years, all because of you. Now that you are here, I can finally lose my solo life. It's just a matter of time anyways. Di Tsong's smile was all domineering and arrogant when making the claim. In this lifetime, you won't be able to get rid of me. Even in death, I will still come back to haunt you and cling on to you. Now that did it. Unsettled and unsure on how to take that level of advance, Bai Yan makes a frantic run for the door after crawling out of bed. The voting for the alchemy convention is about to begin. I'll first head out. With that said, the woman didn't wait for a second to run out of the room, while also slamming the door like it would do anything helpful. With the woman gone and only a tiger and demonic being in the background, it was apparently time for some interrogation. Due to this, Little Rice could only shrink his head in upon being stared down on the bed. Did I do something? What happened on the day when you contracted with Yin Yan? Di Tsong's voice was demanding and frosty. I don't know. Maybe it's because Mistress had a dream. She woke up crying. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Crying? Di Tsong's heart tenses up over the revelation. His level of adoration for the woman has reached a new high. That's why even the fact that she's crying would make his mood all mixed and churning. You mean when she contracted with you, something else happened that we're not aware of? And that it made her cry? I think that's the case. Scratching his furry head, Little Rice cautiously answers. Sneering aloud, Di Tsong's eyes narrows and dangerously. I had intended to match state teacher with Xiaowan as soon as possible, but because of this, I should postpone the idea. Yen Yen never would have cried if not for state teacher saying it's imperative that the tiger must contract with her. King, Little Rice meekly says. Princess has been clinging on to Mistress lately, and there's indication that she's about to occupy Mistress all to herself. That instantly made the man's complexion go dark. That girl is clinging on to my woman? And the tiger carefully looks up. Mistress said she wants to see state teacher. I don't know how that person looks, but if you give the princess to him, then wouldn't it be good? This way you won't have to worry about them both taking up Mistress's time. If Yin Yin could accept me, then I wouldn't have to worry so much, but she keeps pushing me away. Fine. I just need to remove any possible obstacles. This way I can have her all to myself. Actually, the light in Little Rice's eye flickers meaningfully. King, you are actually very special in Mistress's eye. Though she repeatedly rejected your advances, she at least allows you to be rejected. If it was any other men, they would have been thrown aside without a single chance. That is, except for Chui Feng. Really, transforming from gloom to bright, Di Tsong's voice never sounded so king to the baby tiger. Indulgence with the face-slapping 11. Little Rice immediately nodded. My lineage is at the very least that of the great white tiger. I would never lie. I understand then. Raising a curvy smile, Di Tsong's face now loosens up. In a few days I will return to the demon realm with her. Outside in the courtyard, Di Xiaowan and the rest were just in the middle of rushing over to the venue when they incidentally bumped into Di Tsong from behind. Brother! Hurrying to straighten herself, the demon princess grew all rigid in her posture. Due to his good mood, the man even showed off a smile to his sister that only had the opposite effect. Brother, did I do something wrong? Staring up at her brother's face, the girl nervously bites her lip. Could you not make your smile so frightening? If it was in the past, Di Tsong would most certainly tie the brat up to whiplash her for a good session over that comment. However, he's not only impassive at the moment, His smile only grew deeper. Your sister-in-law promised to go home with me. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Blank all over in the head. Di Xiaowan had to take a good minute to pop her eyes in over the realization. What did he say? Did sister-in-law agree to go to the demon realm? This surprise is too sudden. I need a minute to slow down. Brother, is what you're saying absolutely true? I can finally bring sister-in-law and nephew home. Yes, still making his creepy smile. I'm giving you special permission. While I'm not around, you are free to feed any who dares to trouble your sister-in-law to the demon beasts within the abyss. There's no need to report the aftermath to me about these people. This instantly brought on a delighted mood to the demon princess. This special privilege is too perfect. Even if I kill those trashy bitches here, and the ones back at the demon realm, no one will blame me. Brother, you can rest assured. I will definitely do a proper job of protecting sister-in-law and Xiaochen. Whoever dares to come make trouble, I will have state teacher deal with them. Smiling right up to her eyes, the demon girl now sparkles with delight like the starry stars in the night sky. As unwilling as she was to admitting this fact, she could do nothing to change this fact. You finally understand? Di Xiaowan flutters her eyelash in elation. Although I am very much afraid of my brother, but in my mind, he will always be the best. No one can match up to him, so of course that's the case. Lowering her eyes in a downcast manner, Chui Yi's voice lowered into a moan. I've always wanted to make Bai Yan my sister-in-law, but, in comparison to my wishes, I know Bai Yan's happiness is more important. So, no matter what happens in the future, I will always support her from behind. I believe my brother would do the same if he was in my case. If the road ahead is too rugged, then brother would surely flatten it. There's no way he would allow anyone to destroy Bai Yan's happiness. Let's us go already. The voting for the winner of the alchemy convention is about to begin. I'm sure cousin would be the one to win, so I don't want to miss it. Unlike the two troubled girls beside herself, Lan Xiaoyan had a better outlook on the situation, and even showed off a glistening youthful light around herself. Over at the main venue, crowds of people were quickly gathering, and has created a loud scene of lively gossips and chattery. Indulgence with the face-slapping 12. A humph. Elder CEO Wang makes a cough to clear his throat, allowing his eyes ample time to land on that reddish figure among the crowd. To think the incident from yesterday with this blasted woman would attract the princess of the Holy Land over. The old fella furrows his brow, troubled by the obstacle now lays before him in dealing with the troublesome disciple of that power. At the same time, over at the observation deck not far away from the venue, several old farts were currently eyeing the scene with happy smiles from their seats. Do you see now? That's my precious disciple. Ronnie proudly cocked his head high. My disciple will definitely be the winner of this convention considering how amazing she is. How am I supposed to know which is your disciple when you don't point it out to me? Shooting a raised eyebrow at the silly fella, Bai Changfeng points out the biggest flaw here. Of course it is the best on there. Proud in his face, Rennie was smiling right up to high eyes then. At this point Bai Changfeng didn't even want to deal with this old fart anymore. It didn't matter anyways. After the convention comes to an end, all he has to do was to ask a subordinate on who was the disciple from the Holy Land. Want to keep a secret from me? As if they can do that while on my home turf. Seriously, how can these two old-timers be so smart in the past, but be so befuddled whenever it comes to their disciple? What? Just as Bai Changfeng was scanning the venue like he usually does every year, his eyes suddenly fell upon a certain familiar figure. Jerking up from his seat, anger and shock instantly overtakes his old face. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Where is Elder Gu? Get him out here to me this instant. My lord Elder Gu, he's currently in closed-door training right now with your son. The guard nervously answers, shuddering over the oppressive chill creeping down his spine, as a result of the deathly aura exuding out of his lord. Closed-door training? Bai Changfeng huffs a grunt, his teeth grinding from rage. No wonder that Brad is missing all this time. My granddaughter is already here, and he has the nerve to hide it from me? Go find my son this instant. When you do, I want him in front of my face immediately. At this very moment, the old grandpa's control was at its limit. Similar, she's too similar. That girl, she's almost identical to Ning, your daughter. When she was young. Who would dare say she's not my granddaughter? Both the face and air, they are exactly the same. Your granddaughter is here? Runyi turns around to show an amazed face. How can it be that you don't even know your own granddaughter is here? Talk about stabbing someone's heart while they're down. Though not intentional, or with ill intent, Runyi's remark literally left the old grandpa bleeding like he's been pierced with 1,000 knives. In fact, Bai Changfeng would love to kill the blasted old fart for his careless comment. That's how much of a sore spot the subject was. Yinner is here, how dare that brat hide it from me? Unacceptable. So what if I didn't know? Stalking his neck in embarrassment. My daughter's been gone for so long. What's the problem with my granddaughter not knowing about my existence? It's normal that she would not tell me when she came. Snorting at that laughable defense, Runyi didn't want to argue over the strange topic and ignored it. Instead, his attention was more inclined towards who the girl was. Which one is it then, your granddaughter? The one that looks the most like my daughter. Humph, when I saw your daughter, she was only a few years old. How do you expect me to recognize the girl with only that sort of detail to go upon? Scared to the point of being unable to walk 3. Without giving his feline friend a chance to say anything there, the baby boy's hand has already yanked that tail into a gripping hold. Together, one tiger and one boy. They disappeared like the gusting wind in pursuit of the 3 ladies. Meanwhile, in the background still, Wenru was putting on a weeping face the entire way. He's pained by the Dan pills that's been left scattered on the floor, due to Bai Xiaqin's outburst just now. What a spendthrift, a spendthrift. Those are 6th grade. How can he just eat them like it's nothing, and a whole bottle at that? Why can't they be given to me instead? What's the matter? Noticing the oddity, Bai Yan's first glimpse of the grievance in her subordinate's mood was the fact that he was sorrowfully picking up the leftovers from the ground like a beggar. In light of the question, Wenru didn't answer like he usually does in an upbeat attitude. Instead, the young man only staggered back to his room and shut the door like a dispirited ghost. Now that's left the woman all confused and clueless. Since Bai Yan herself didn't know what's going on, she has decided to ignore it out of consideration for the boy's past action. There's just too many oddballs constantly running around in her life, so another Wenru here makes hardly any difference. The Elder Assembly Hall, one of the most important places within the medicine sect. I don't know what happened, but jumping suddenly called over half of us away something. Now he's not paying any attention to the alchemy convention, says a red-robed elder inside the chamber hall. Yeah, this convention is usually hosted by the young master. Now that he's gone, everything is falling into CEO Wang's hands, and it's becoming a mess, especially how he tried to expel the disciple from the Holy Land at the persuasion of that Ying. Visit my site on Catranslation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. These elders were all getting a throbbing migraine over the recent events of the past 2 days. They want the real lord or young lord to step in, or the very least to give them permission to interfere. As things stand now, they are helpless. Everyone, this is indeed our fault. If the time comes that the Holy Land does come seeking answers, we are going to have to endure the consequences. I heard that the position of the disciple is not high, so the Holy Land wouldn't really come make trouble because of someone like that, right? Damn it. If things do go that way, then it's just going to benefit that misty fairy house. While these elders were negotiating on how to deal with the aftermath, a man dressed in protective gear had suddenly barged into their meeting. Based on how agitated and flustered the person was, it's obvious he did so in the heat of the moment after running all the way. Who allowed you to come in? A yellow-robed elder roared, slamming his fist against the table. Crumbling to the floor at the yell, the person stutters profusely. Elders, we are in trouble. The Holy Lands which is here. What? Astonishment and fear instantly shook the chamber, their eyes borderline disbelieving the news. The witch is coming. Why did she come here? Is it because she found out about us bullying her sex disciple? This witch have always been short-tempered, and is definitely going to raise a storm. It shouldn't be. The news couldn't have spread so fast. But letting her know about it will definitely cause an uproar. Damn that Ying. If this matter is really related to her, then I won't let her off the hook. The yellow-robed elder was blistering red due to the anger in himself. Perhaps it's the effect of Chu Yi's nickname being so prominent. But the only one left who's still showing calm was the red-robe elder, who first spoke up earlier. But in truth, ahem, the witch coming isn't anything to be freaking out about. It's fine, everyone, and be optimistic. We are the medicine sect. We just need to send someone to look after the girl, so she doesn't cause any harm. Though he says that, the trembling legs underneath his robe said otherwise. Indulgence with the face-slapping 14. Shadowless sect. 3 completed recipes disqualified. Tianxian sect. 5 completed recipes barely pass. Moon Slicer sect. Following each result of the judges from the medicine sect, there were many frowns and tense faces. But more were leaning towards the frustrated expression as a result of their failure. There are a total of 12 recipes given out this year. To be able to complete just 5 was enough to prove a contestant's worth. Sadly, among the many forces participating, the highest success rate revolves around only 7. Before long, a judge has arrived at Bai Yan's spot and begun opening the box she prepared ahead of time to house the pills she created. 7 types of pills? The judge's face became a bit red over the sight. 7 types of pills? The faces of all the people were showing astonishment as well by now. Elder CEO Wang. It was then a middle-aged man stepped forward. First giving Bai Yan a negative look, he then faced the old senior. I want to protest. This woman was sneaking around our place of residence last night. Then by this morning, us of the Moon Slicer sect discovered there's been a theft. 7 of our creations were missing from the main cauldron. Watching this unfold from afar, Ying, who was still being carried around, finally revealed her sinister self again in public. There's no other reason. It's because this man was arranged by her to destroy Bai Yan's reputation. Are your words true? Elder CEO Wang's face turned slightly white, his anger showing then as he confronted the accused. Like the old senior, the onlookers were also focused in on Bai Yan by now, their faces all questioning and uncertain. To think there would be someone daring enough to cheat at the alchemy convention. Is she asking to die? This woman may be part of the Holy Land, but not even her sect would shield someone so low. Of course my words are true. The middle-aged man from the Moon Slicer sect smugly grins. Miss Ying will be Bai Zhangping's goddaughter in the future. There's no way the Holy Land would shield a disgraced disciple that has no background or ability. Where is your evidence? CEO Wang's expression sank, turning dark and stern as he attempts to get to the bottom of this. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Elder, you should have noticed as well. This woman from the Holy Land did nothing but play with her son during the past 3 days. Where is she supposed to find time to refine all these pills while doing something like that? What's more, there's no way each contesting party would only create 1 pill of each type. My Moon Slicer sect has done just that, and is missing 1 of each kind from our possession. As it so happens, it's exactly the one she has in that box. The implication of that statement was that the disciple from the Holy Land didn't know any alchemy at all, merely an extra to make up the numbers. Sure enough, Elder CEO Wang's complexion was now darker than the bottom of a burnt pot. It's not like the old fella didn't pay attention to Bai Yan's actions during these past few days. That's why he's willing to believe the man's claim to a certain extent. Humph. To think there really is someone daring enough to cheat while under my watch. Over at the other end of the crowd, Di Xiaowan and Chu Yi were already fuming hard upon seeing these people spouting lies left and right. But just as the two were ready to jump out to kick some asses, it was their friend Lan Xiaoyan who pulled them back. Don't worry, my cousin will be able to handle these idiots on her own. If you two go out now, then wouldn't we be missing a good show as a result? Though the words were able to keep the 2 dangerous females at bay, but the surging anger in those eyes didn't diminish in the least. In fact, it's only growing stronger. Indulgence with the face-slapping 15. Bai Yin seems to have noticed the ridiculing eyes cast at her way, making a faint smile. Are these recipes hard? As if they would need me 3 days to study and understand. Boom! The crowd was shocked, their eyes popping over the woman's arrogance. She actually dares to claim they are not difficult? This is unprecedented. Such arrogance. True, she did not say she only has 7, but there are indeed only 7 within the bottle. At this moment, everyone has noticed by now that the judge in charge of assessing, Bai Yin, hasn't said a word since the middle-aged man jumped out to make the accusation. When Ru, upon hearing his name, the teen immediately understood the meaning and handed over the results of his creations during these past 3 days. Of the 12 recipes this place handed out, 5 are extremely simple. That's why I gave it to my people to practice. All rosy in her face, Bai Yin stares down at the middle-aged man who was clearly losing steam. Or do you want to say all 5 of these Dan pills were also stolen from your place of residence as well? Boom! Silence hangs in the air after that revelation. However, the calm didn't last long before a giant uproar exploded among the people. 12. This woman actually finished all 12 recipes. Even these alchemists of the medicine sect couldn't completely understand the last few recipes during the past few months that they had it. But this woman could do it in 3 days? Ho! And the Moon Slicer sect people has the audacity to claim she stole it from them. What a load of crap. But then, who's the team beside the woman? He finished 5 of the recipes on his own. The teen's not normal either. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. I didn't finish my words just now. The judge's hand was shaky as he held onto the pills. Of the pills this lady created, 5 of them are beyond my ability to discern. I like to request other elders to come forward in order to confirm their authenticity. If the Dan pills were wrong, then he would have immediately announced the woman as an imposter, using fake ones in order to get past the contest. However, he never said such a thing, claiming he couldn't discern their authenticity only. While shock and a sense of sensation circulated among the crowd, a group of elders led by none other than Lu Zhong, Red Robe Elder, have already ran over. Their faces were all showing excitement and wonder due to the amazing news. Silence now hangs in the air as everyone awaited the results. At first Lu Zhong didn't say anything after popping the cork and examining the pills repeatedly. But once he began exchanging meaningful glances with his peers and getting agreeing nods in return, a pleasant expression now became the norm. It's real. All of these Dan pills are real, especially this Spirit Booster Dan pill. I scratched a bit of it off to get a taste, and my spirit force almost immediately saw improvement, almost double even. Towards a cultivator, the improvement of one's spirit force was of the utmost importance, for it's able to pave the path for quicker and easier results. For example, what would normally take a year to achieve might require only a month or 2 if their spirit force was abnormally high at the time. That made this pill almost priceless in the eyes of those who needs it to reach new heights when faced with a bottleneck. Indulgence with the face slapping too. The slap has left Ying utterly dumbfounded to the point where she had to take a good minute to come back to her senses. Ah, you bitch, I'm going to tear you apart for hitting my granddaughter. Old Madame Yi screams, running for the perpetrator in order to exact revenge. However, before that old woman could do anything, Di Xiaowan have already sent a mega kick against her obese body. A few tumbling rolls later, the old hag now laid flat on the ground. Stop! Yi Ying's face was ugly and menacingly cold. You got some nerve acting so arrogant while inside the medicine sect. Someone come, subdue these assailants. Yet none moved at her command. Instead, everyone only turned to the livid-looking elders that's been watching the entire thing unfold. They knew this wouldn't turn out well, so the posture of the medicine sect members instinctively backed off a step. As for Elder Lu Zhong and the rest, they wanted to tear Ying apart right now. The only reason they didn't rush over earlier was because they had no proper plan to appease Chu Yi, not because they didn't want to. This is over. This time, no matter how much we appease this witch, we're screwed. You want to hit me? Under the angry eyes of Yi Ying and others, Chu Yi only snarled a snicker. My father wouldn't even dare to hit me and you're threatening me? Who the heck are you? You're not even a disciple here. What does the medicine sect have an opinion about me about our holy land? Holy land? Ying was gobsmacked by the news. This girl too? You are nothing but a disciple of the Holy Land. Don't get ahead of yourself with that arrogance. Even if your sect leader comes in person today, our medicine sect won't let you off so easy. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Peng Ying didn't even get to finish her threat when an immense push tossed her aside. This infuriated the girl, of course, and that's on top of her already flaming mood. However, that flame was instantly smothered out at the recognition of who the individual was. Elder Tianxian Yu, how come you are here? The man named Tianxian was the very same yellow-robed elder who spoke up at the meeting hall. After forcefully pushing aside the impudent girl, the senior promptly made a flattering smile. Princess, how come you are here? He originally wanted to call out with the nickname Witch, but thankfully his steady mindset has managed to stop that horrible mistake in the nick of time. If I didn't come, then I wouldn't have known the extensive arrogance of your medicine sect, now would I? Sneering still. Oh yes, your medicine sect's successor is claiming to be my fiancé, while this old hag is saying I'm not worthy. So tell me, which is it? Also, when did this place get such a successor? Have the medicine sect fallen so low to use such garbage now? No, this is definitely a mistake. Our Lord is doing just fine, and will continue to do just fine for many years to come. This Yi Ming is nothing but a distant relative of the sect leader. What successor? Elder Tianxian shoots a harsh glare at the Yi family members. As for that talk about being your fiancé, I never heard of such nonsense. That's right, Princess, you are both beautiful and talented. Only the best of the best out there is worthy of you. This Yi Ming humph, he's not even worthy of being your shoe licker. Princess, everything is the Yi family's fault. It has nothing to do with us. So you see, can you spare the precious treasures in our medicine sect? The elders were surrounding Chu Yi from every angle, afraid the girl would slip away to rob them dry using this opportunity. Indulgence with the face slapping 17. The man from the Moon Slicer sect wanted to flee then, but before he could, a girl wearing a pinkishly fine dress have already blocked him from behind, arms stabbing her waist. You bullied my sister-in-law and you still want to run away? Move it. In a swing of his fist, the man attempts to send a punch at Di Xiaowan. However, before he could even land it, the girl's flying kick have already reached over and knocked him over in a rolling fall. Auntie, I will tell Batty Father about what you said there. Stern and serious, Bai Xiachen untimely interjects himself to cause the girl a wave of fright. I am just kidding. It's really just a joke. Don't tell my brother, please, or he will beat me to death. Brother is already very dissatisfied with me clinging on to sister-in-law. If he learns of me saying something like that, then he would surely toss me out like a love rival. Ooh, ow! Groaning. The man from the Moon Slicer sect eventually manages to climb up from the floor. Miss, me misunderstanding you is my fault. However, isn't there a saying that a person is excusable if they didn't know? Don't you agree? Did you really not know? Bai Yin rubs her chin, as if contemplating the plausibility of that idea. It's true. The man gnashes his teeth and spits out that last bit. In any case, there's no way he would divulge the truth about Ying bribing him to do the task. Otherwise, he'd be doomed in the future with no space to live. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. True. Bai Yan squints her eyes and grew intimidatingly dangerous. Looking at the woman getting closer and closer, the man shuddered with an uncontrollable fear. What do you want to do? Of course I want to stomp. Beat you until you admit it. Poof. Spewing a stream of blood straight out of his mouth, Bai Yan's ever-increasing foot strength has left the man struggling to breath. Then just as he's ready to roll his eyes and faint, stop, turning their heads, everyone soon saw the person being pushed over on a wheelchair. It was a bloated-looking girl due to the bruises, and as a result, they could barely recognize the original contour, if not for the clothes she was wearing. Miss Bai, there's a saying of mercy on the weak. Since this man never intended to do what he did, Isn't beating him relentlessly overly cruel? A flash of contempt flickers within Yi Ying's iris. And what if I say I want to cripple him? I can't stop you. But neither can I just watch you hurt others. Yi Ying's words just went all righteous. In the past 2 days, some people have framed me and my brother as well. But what can I do? In fact, I even know who famed me. However, I will only at most teach them a lesson. I do not ask you to be kind to others, but I can't allow you to be too cruel either. In all seriousness, Qi Yi and Di Xiao Wan were both absolutely stunned by the shamelessness of that speech. They've never met someone capable of being this thick-skinned. Ho ho! Qi Yi slowly steps forward, her face showing contempt. If I didn't forget, I remember you trying to have my people take my away, did you not? Changing in her bloated face. Yes, I have issued such an order, but that's only because I didn't know your identity. What's more, I only wanted to drive you away to stop you from causing trouble. I never harmed you in any way. Indulgence with the face slapping 18. Bang. Unable to control her temper, Qi Yi didn't give a rat's ass about the public's opinion, and directly ran up to slap the shameless bitch's face. You shut up. If I hear another rotten word from that mouth of yours, then I will tear it off. How can simply tearing it off be enough? I say we should throw her into the abyss to feed the demon beasts instead. Due to Di Xiao Wan's own lineage, it's not abnormal for the demon princess to want to help her kind get some extra meat. Though those creatures are of inferior status in every manner to her existence, nevertheless, she still has some duty to those poor things that's currently starving in the wild. Xiao Wan, can I follow you to the demon forest? Shimmering with excitement in her eyes, Lan Xiaoyan jumps in to ask. I've never seen a wild demon beast eat a person before, can I? Nodding easily. Of course, all the demon beasts out there belong to my family, so they won't hurt you by mistake. Don't you worry a bit and come watch. In front of that arrogance, no man or woman could possibly turn a blind eye to it. As a result, the attention has shifted from Bai Yan to this unknown girl, who dares to make such a bold claim. This girl is too arrogant. Outrageous, you people are too outrageous. Old Madame Ye's face had turned livid by now. First she had to watch her own granddaughter be slapped in open public, then be insulted by 3 ignorant brats. No grandmother would stand idly by regardless of their terrible nature. Do you think you can have everything your way just because you are the daughter of the Lord of the Holy Land? I'm telling you, my granddaughter is going to be Lady of the Medicine Sect. My brother-in-law, the sect leader, have already promised to have Zhangping accept her as his goddaughter. What? Due to how heavy that statement was, it had somehow managed to overshadow the noise in this crowded venue. The sect leader promised to let the young master accept her as a goddaughter? And why now of all times? Very irritated in her face now, Qi Yi didn't like it one bit. What does the medicine sect mean by this? You people know I hate this woman, yet she's still being taken as the young lord's goddaughter? Is this a declaration of war with us from the Holy Land? Qi Yi. Ying clenches her fists while making a cold hard frown. I endured your crimes because of my kindness, but you should know my status is now on equal grounds as you. What qualifications do you have to hit me? Boom. Not going to listen to another word of that nonsense. Qi Yi liberally sent another kick at the wheelchair to knock the occupant over. You are nothing but an imposter. Don't even try to have the delusion of being on my level. I am a genuine princess of the Holy Land, and what are you? Nothing but a fake trying to act like a real one. Inger. Old Madame Yi exclaims, hurrying to upright her precious granddaughter from the ground. Ying, is what your grandmother saying true? Lu Zhong and the rest were also showing an ugly expression as well. But it's not over the fact that the girl got hit though. Of course it is true. The old granny gnashes her teeth and snapped back. Just wait until my brother-in-law comes over to announce the news. Once he learns of what you people did to bully my precious Inger, none of you will get away. This time the elders didn't say a word. Their eyes locked entirely onto Yi Ying instead. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases, giving a nervous nod in return. Yes, Bai Zhangping is going to be my godfather, and my granduncle will be personally coming to announce this news. Hiss. Everyone gasped hard at the notion. Ying really got accepted as Bai Zhangping's goddaughter? Oh heavens! That would put her in the same league as the princess of the Holy Land. What exactly is the Lord thinking? The yellow-robed elder angrily speaks out. How could he allow an outsider become a direct member of our medicine sect? Isn't this the same as diluting our blood? Even if it's a goddaughter, it still isn't right. Indulgence with the face slapping 19. Haha. CEO Wang instantly swept away his depressed state and laughed twice. This proves that our Lord has good eyesight. Miss Yi Ying is unlike her brother Yi Ming, who only knows how to indulge himself in pleasure and lust. She's gifted, gentle and kind. The fact that the Lord wishes to turn her into a lady of our sect is excusable. After all, now others couldn't bully the lady anymore. When he said this, the old senior's eyes didn't forget to sweep over to Bai Yan and Chu Yi's location, thus indirectly indicating the two women as the instigator. I really don't know what Lu Zhong and the rest is thinking in indulging the Holy Land's princess. Can't they differentiate who is an outsider and an insider? This matter, the young master will not agree with it. The yellow-robed elder says this with his teeth grinding. It doesn't matter if the young master is willing to agree. What matters is the Lord's will. Who knows? Perhaps the fact that the Lord is missing right now is due to his preparations for installing Miss Yi Ying as the future lady of our sect. At this point, CEO Wang felt refreshed over his own self-conceited justification. Once Yi Ying becomes the lady here, my future will surely become smooth and bright considering my flattery for today. As for these people, they can only be envious of me by then. You! The yellow-robed elder exploded, his face livid with anger. But just as the elder wanted to move forward to smash up that conceited face of CEO Wang's, Lu Zhong, red robe, had stopped him with a hand. Forget it. Let's wait for this matter to be handled by the Lord when he comes around. There's no way such a big decision would come to pass without consulting the rest of us. If at the time he's still with the idea, we only need to oppose the idea. Sure enough, the sentence quickly calmed the heated yellow-robed elder down. It's not that the elder council of the medicine sect hated Yi Ying or such. Rather, they are well aware of the girl's sensible difference from her brother's useless nature. However, it doesn't change the fact that the medicine sect mustn't fall into the hands of an outsider with a different surname. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Just as the elders were indignant and fuming, an old voice suddenly reached over from afar. Who can tell me what happened here? Cold in his face, Bai Changfeng slowly strolled over with an obvious look of impatience. As the sect leader, he's naturally obligated to interfere in such cases. But more importantly, he's not going to let his granddaughter be bullied. Brother-in-law, crying out at Bai Changfeng's appearance, old Madam Yi puts on the most fake act of indignation ever. You must get justice for me. This wild girl from the Holy Land is bullying my Inger despite me telling them her identity. Wrinkling his old brow, the grandpa indifferently casts his sight on the old shrew that instantly silenced her. It seems the alchemy convention is over. As for what happened just now, you lot can explain it to me afterwards. Right now, I have something important to announce. Now that's just the wrong timing. Going from timid to a cheeky high stance, the fat old shrew was once again at it upon hearing this statement. Humph, I've said it already. Brother-in-law would only announce something so big in front of everyone. Now I like to see anyone else looking down at my granddaughter. Compared with the excitement of old Madam Yi, Elder Lu Zhong and his faction that's against the idea were all showing a gloomy face. Sect leader wouldn't really disregard their feelings and dilute the medicine sect's bloodline, would he? Father. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the venue. Bai Changfeng's mood wasn't all that great to begin with after his argument. Now to be interrupted so suddenly, his face also sank and turned to the source, where Bai Zhangping was quickly walking out from the crowd. Indulgence with the face slapping 20. You brat! As a result of Bai Changfeng's outrage, the elders as well as his son were all shuddering for a brief second. What happened? Why is the Lord so angry? Shouldn't he be finding the young Mrs. daughter a good and happy occasion? It was then some of the other elders have also arrived. They've been busy with Bai Zhongping confirming Bai Yan's identity. Thus they're still oblivious to the reasoning for Lu Zhong, Red Robe, and the rest's ugly and uncomfortable face. Father, just scold me afterwards. I have some wonderful news to tell you. From the man's handsome face, Bai Zhongping soon found the reddish figure of his liking within the crowd. You mean to say, the old grandpa's body goes stiff like a block of wood? That's right, it's exactly what you think, father. Boom. Although he's long taken Bai Yan as his granddaughter regardless of the fact, but having confirmation still brings excitement to his old heart. My medicine sect finally has an heir. Ha ha ha. A long laugh rocks the world. Anyone could see the excellent mood of this old grandpa. In fact, ever since his daughter Bai Ning disappeared from the public's eye years ago, Bai Changfeng has never laughed so loudly and happily again. Great, this is too great. Grinning right up to his eyes. Son, go stand on one side first. I will announce the great news to everyone here today. Yes, father. Walking to one side like asked, Bai Zhongping didn't forget to cast a warm and tender smile at his niece, that's also nearby. As a result, this look of kindred love has left Bai Yin rather uncomfortable and twitchy. Son, did your grandpa Zhongping go stupid? After some thinking, that's the only conclusion the woman could come up with. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Nodding in return, Bai Xiaochen attempts to hide his own guilt. Probably. Should I tell mother I stole a strand of her hair and gave it to Grandpa Zhongping? If mother finds out, will she be angry with me? But Grandpa Zhongping isn't a bad person. Oh, what to do? Ladies and gentlemen, still smiling with a stupid grin on his face, there's something important I like to announce today. It's regarding a descendant of my home. That's why I want to take advantage of everyone's attendance to verify her identity to you all. It's really here. All eyes are now on Ying. Envy, jealousy and annoyance were only a sample of the emotions running through the crowd's heart. Really? What sort of luck is running through this Ying? To think some nobody like that could become Bai Changfeng's granddaughter and be recognized in open public. Of course, Bai Changfeng wasn't a blind old fool. Naturally, he would see the strange looks shooting over to the bruised up and bloated girl on one side. I'm announcing my granddaughter's identity. Why are they looking over to Ying? A frown takes over that smile. Since the old grandpa couldn't figure out the reasoning for the strange behavior, he decides to just leave it and continued on with his speech. I think everyone can still remember my missing daughter Bai Ning. She disappeared many years ago. Bai Ning. Startled at the name, everyone's gaze immediately turns away from their initial target of envy. He's not going to announce Yi Ying's status? But then what does this all have to do with Bai Ning? My lord, you mean the young Miss Shi? Still unclear over the sudden turn in event, Lu Zhong hurries to ask. I bet none of you could have guessed. While my daughter was away due to some unforeseen accident, she not only got married, she also gave birth to a daughter. Compared with Yi Ying's lie, the news from the old grandpa was even more shocking. The amazing girl from back then is already married, and with children? Even though there are not many who's had the privilege of meeting Bai Ning in person, it doesn't mean they've never heard of the girl's outstanding talent and fame. Therefore, it was quite the regretful incident when it became known that she had gone missing 20 years ago. This was especially true for the younger male population who had some background. Indulgence with the face slapping 21. Against this bombshell of a news from the old grandpa himself, not only were the elders of the medicine sect dropping their jaws, even the other forces present were as well. My poor granddaughter. She was raised by others as soon as she was born due to painful circumstances. If not by mere chance and coincidence, I never would have known about her existence. Wiping some of those tears away, Bai Changfeng didn't forget to sneak a peek at Bai Yan from one corner of his eye. The reason why he would say so much was to relay a message before he recognizes the girl. It's not that the medicine sect didn't want her. Rather, it's because they didn't know about her existence. Originally, Bai Yan was still ignorant of what the old grandpa was implying and didn't think much of that speech. But after hearing the cues shooting her way, the woman's face promptly went stupefied and gawked. After seeing the cue of the young woman understanding, A slightly excited luster swiftly takes over the old man's face. My granddaughter, Bai Yan, is the biological daughter of Ninger, the blood heir of my medicine sect. Boom! As if being smashed in the head once again, the crowds were all ready to faint over this shocking news. The news that Bai Changfeng wants to announce is not to accept Yi Ying as a granddaughter, but instead to recognize Bai Ning's biological daughter? So that's why. Lu Zhong's surprised face didn't hold any calm by this point, only a gleeful excitement of overjoy. I knew the young lady looked familiar. It's not without reason. This is all my fault. I should have recognized the young lady long before this even took place. This genius who can refine spirit booster Dan Pill is Bai Ning's daughter. She's our medicine sect's true heir. Ha ha ha, this is truly a wonderful news. At this moment, Yi Ying was shaking so hard that she had literally crumbled to the floor. The girl wants to climb back up. Sadly, none of the people nearby was willing to lend a helping hand. Bai Yan is the daughter of Bai Ning? No, it's just a coincidence that her surname is Bai. She couldn't possibly be Bai Ning's biological daughter. Something is wrong about all this. Due to how loud her murmuring voice was, it had mistakenly fallen into the ears of some of the occupants nearby. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. No. Bai Yin cannot be the medicine sect's big lady. I am supposed to be it. Curling herself into a fetal position, Ying had to gnash her own teeth to avoid having those tears swell out of those eyes. If Bai Yin is the big lady of the medicine sect, then what I said, wouldn't it be a total joke? What is going on here? Bai Changfeng tightens his old brow and asked indifferently. The one to answer was Lu Zhong, his voice with unstoppable excitement. Just now Ying said that you promised to let the young master accept her as his goddaughter. We actually believed her, however. Ha ha ha. The red-robed elder didn't bother to hold back at all, and burst out laughing his ass off. The tone was harsh and insulting, constantly slapping the greedy bitch's face with every echo, showing amazement then. When did I ever say something like that? So what if I made such a promise? Besides, I only agreed if I didn't have a third-generation heir. As everyone can see now, my granddaughter is here, so none of that applies. Indulgence with the face slapping, 22. It's just that there's no way Bai Changfeng would admit such a thing in open public. That's why it's going to be the Yi family who's going to take the blame for this fiasco. Sect leader is wise. The yellow-robed elder's old face was brimming with excitement then, rubbing that fist of his. The senior didn't forget to shoot a sinister glare over to the old shrew. I just knew the Lord wouldn't be so muddle-headed that he would make such an irrational decision. Our medicine sect have an heir, so why should we take in an outsider? Moreover, young master is still young, so there's no way he wouldn't find a suitable marriage prospect. These people must be trying to curse him. That's why they are so certain there wouldn't be any heir. Old Madam Yi ignored the comment, but still shot a killing glare to the elders, before finally landing on Bai Yan's body. Brother-in-law, this girl cannot possibly be Bai Ning's daughter. Her heart is cruel and sinister. She doesn't deserve the status of being the big lady of the medicine sect. Only my Inger is qualified for that post. Shut up. Not bothering to wait for Bai Changfeng or his son to lash out, Lu Zhong of the Elder Council have already had it. Screaming with his throat screeching. Blasted old hag, how dare you? It's one thing that you are always making trouble, but now you are also questioning the Mrs. Identity. My lord, I propose we kick these people out of the medicine sect, and never allow them to step foot in here again. That's right. You not only eat ours, take ours, and even use our influence to take advantage of others. Now you actually have the audacity to falsely accuse our miss of being a fake? I won't continue to stand for such cancerous accusations. These leeches must be driven out of our medicine sect. Sect leader, you must drive these people out, otherwise I will resign myself from being an elder this instant. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. The angers were of the same accord across multiple members of the Elder Council, thus shocking Bai Changfeng greatly in their activeness. Shouldn't these guys be trying to determine my granddaughter's identity first? Why are they being so excited when they didn't even see the evidence jumping prepared for them yet? This is too unreasonable. Lu Zhong, tell me what's going on here? Facing the red-robed elder, Bai Zhanping asks with confusion in his voice. Why are all of you so convinced when I didn't even show you the proof of the blood connection? Brimming with excitement and totally lacking in his usual calm and stable demeanor, the elder promptly replied. Young master, you remember the recipes we got our hands on recently, the 5 that were especially difficult to solve. Well, the Miss have already solved them, and created the Dan pills to show the public. She's a true alchemy master. The Dan pill recipes, those 5? This news immediately raised waves across the elders that came with Bai Zhanping. They shuddered and cast their conniving eyes over to the woman in question. If one didn't know better, one might just assume they're hungry wolves confronted with a piece of juicy red meat. This undoubtedly didn't go unnoticed by Bai Yan. Subconsciously, her feet had taken a step back out of fear for those glaring stares. Don't be afraid, mother. It was then that Bai Xiachen got in front of the woman to shield her. I will protect you from these people. Mother is mine. I'm not going to give these old baddies any chance to steal her away. At the rear of the venue, Ren Yi had just finished rushing down from the high platform where the VIP seats were located. But that's when he overheard the horrific dialogue. Without bothering to think his words through, he broke out into a frantic run at Bai Changfeng's face. I'm going to kill you bastards. How dare you try to steal my disciple? Boom. Talk about fast and furious. Ren Yi held nothing back in that punch. Arg, you not only cursed at me, you actually dared to hit me? Bai Changfeng's angry now. Raising his hand to defend himself, the old grandpa takes his own stance. Don't think I'm afraid of you. Even if your lord came in person, he would still have to be polite in my presence. Yet you not only hit me, you also yelled at me. Indulgence with the face slapping, 23. Ren Yi sneered. I'm not just going to yell and beat you lot. I'm also going to have the Holy Land declare war on your sorry asses. Bai Changfeng's dumbfounded now. This old fart wants to declare war on us? What sort of crackpot is he smoking? It's not like I cheated on him with his wife or something. Did he lose his mind? Then again, the act wasn't all that far off from the fact. For someone like Ren Yi who treats Bai Yan as his greatest treasure, stealing the girl was akin to stealing his life, or even worse. You just wait. Once I go back, I will tell the Lord immediately. The Holy Land must go to war with the medicine sect. Glaring fire at Bai Changfeng, the flustered and ranting elder then ran back to Bai Yan and the little steam bun. When he did so, the snarling annoyed face was promptly replaced with a genuine smile. Oh my precious disciple, don't let these cheating old liars deceive you. You mustn't believe in any of their lies. He then points to the group of the jaw-dropping people in the background. Disciple? So in addition to being Bai Ning's daughter, this woman is also the disciple of the elder of the Holy Land? Ying could barely keep herself from suffocating as a result of the intense stinging in the wretched girl's heart. Why are all of the benefits going to her only? I won't accept this. I'm not going to accept this. Clenching that bruised-up fist, Yi Ying's iris was burning with resentment that surprisingly matched well with the distorted face of hatred she had on. Yen Yen is the disciple from the Holy Land. Bai Changfeng instantly turns to the guard behind himself. Why have you never told me this fact? The poor soul just felt wronged. My lord, you said not to disturb you under any circumstances. That's why no one told you. You dimwit. Bai Changfeng instantly slaps the trembling guard into a spinning roll. Granddaughter, I am your grandfather, your real grandfather. You must believe me. This old fart Ren Yi is the real one who lies. Glaring back at the accusation. I'm going to flatten your medicine sect for trying to steal my disciple. Ho! The old grandfather huffs a grunt. This time I don't need you declaring war on us. My medicine sect will do it instead. How dare you try to steal my granddaughter? And to stop her from recognizing me. What, do you think just saying so is enough? I'm telling you now. My disciple is most important to our Holy Land. Not only does our little princess have to follow her around, even the Lord has given her the Holy Island as a gift. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. And what of it? I can give the entirety of my medicine sect to my granddaughter. I like to see you fight with me on that. Also, the facts won't change. Grinning like a brat, Bai Changfeng taunts the other side like someone who's asking for a beating by jumping up and down in glee. While the two old-timers were going back and forth with their bickering nonsense, Bai Yin on the other hand literally wanted to face-palm herself from embarrassment. This was particularly true when her real grandfather said the last part about giving her the medicine sect. It literally made her complexion go from black to green. As for Ren Yi, the second elder of the Holy Land, was literally regretting right into his stomach by this point. If he had known things would turn out like this, then he would have never allowed Bai Yin to come over. Now he's paying the price like someone facing retribution. You just wait, I'm running back to get the Lord. I will have the Lord come deal with you bastards for stealing my disciple. Arghhh. Run Yi and Zheng Qi promptly exchanged a look, indicating to each other to move right away. However, before they could even take a step, Bai Yan's hair-raising and huffing voice had drifted over from behind. First Shifu, second Shifu, are you two done playing around yet? This. Run Yi sounded nervous like a wife being caught hiding some pocket money. Did I do something wrong? That's right, did he do something wrong? All this old fella wanted to do was to avoid having someone else steal his disciple away. Grandchefus, Mother is very angry right now, so I suggest you both be quiet for now. Blinking his big blue eyes, Bai Xiachen offers up his advice without minding the fact that he's the youngling and not the elder of the family. Indulgence with the face-slapping 24. Both elders were shaken by that comment. Making a wrong face, they didn't dare to move an inch. Alright, be good and stop making trouble. Seeing the sulky faces of her two shifus, Bai Yin knew she's being too harsh. Softening up that face, she pats them both on the head like a parent. When I finish up the matters here, then I will teach you the key points to those alchemic recipes, alright? Really? Ren Yi's eyes lit up, and excitedly rubbed his hands together. After saying this, Bai Yin then turned around to confront Bai Changfeng's gaze while ignoring all the rest. Bai Ning is my mother? She purses her lips and asked. Yes, Bai Ning is your mother and my daughter. Seeing how his granddaughter was willing to take the initiative to talk with him, the old grandfather would of course be delighted. This could be reflected in the burning brilliance within his iris. And what about her? Towards this rumored mother, Bai Yin would very much like to meet her. But according to the news she's gotten, her supposed mother has been missing for many years. And sure enough, Bai Changfeng's complexion promptly turned into a saddening color. I haven't seen her for more than 20 years. I thought she had passed away, but your appearance has given me hope. I believe she is alive like you. Even if it takes up the remainder of my life, I will still wait for her to return. Tomorrow. Bai Yan's eyes were as bright as the twinkling stars. Can you tell me about her? A mother. The said entity has always been a part of her dream. Back in her previous life on Earth, Bai Yan's mother had died early, long before she could build a strong bond with the woman. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine how emotional excited she was to have a second chance. Yes. Due to how excited his old heart was, Bai Changfeng could only answer with that one word. My precious granddaughter. If anyone dares to bully you in the future, then come back to me. Grandfather here will help you beat them to a pulp. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Bai Yan's eye literally twitched over that statement. Am I the type to tattle to their elders? No need. Compared with complaining to an elder, I prefer to do it myself. Bai Changfeng first became stunned. Then he lets loose a bellowing and hearty laugh. Ha ha ha, that's my girl. This sort of personality is exactly like mine during my youth. Ho ho. Rennie immediately cuts in with a sneer. That is my precious disciple. What does her personality have to do with you? The old elder promised Bai Yin not to cause trouble, but that didn't mean he wouldn't ridicule the other side when he could. But since Bai Changfeng's mood was extremely good right now, the Lord of the Medicine sect actually ignored the rude remark and kept smiling. This face, this aura, it's so much like Ninger. No matter how much I look at it, it's simply not enough. Yenner. Bai Zhamping then walks up with a bright smile of his own. We meet once again. However, this time you can't address me so formally anymore, and must call me uncle. Uncle? She was definitely taken aback somewhat, but quickly changed it to a genuine smile of warmth. Uncle. Uh-huh. All moved in his voice. The man had to take a good moment to get his emotions back in order. Rubbing the woman's head like a good elder of the family. Good girl. Uncle didn't prepare anything special for this meet. But here's a jade ring. It's something your grandfather handed to me. Now, I will hand it to you. Taking that ring made out of pure jade, Bai Zhangping then carefully places the item into Bai Yan's hand. This ring is an heirloom of our medicine sect. It's said that there's a hidden secret within the ring. But that's a secret you will need to figure out on your own, because neither I nor your grandfather knows what it is. The members of the medicine sect, on the other hand, were all shocked over this sight. Lu Zhong and his faction of elders were still fine since they support this outcome. But CEO Wang only had despair left in his old eyes because he knew exactly what this indicated. Indulgence with the face slapping 25. No, this jade ring cannot go to her. Old Madame Yi had just finished lifting up her granddaughter from the floor when she saw the event. Gnashing that teeth, the old shrew didn't care anymore and roared out. Even if she really is Bai Ning's daughter, she is still a female and not qualified to be the medicine sect's heir. Humph! Bai Changfeng's face got cold as his eyes grew increasingly annoyed by the woman. You say my granddaughter is not qualified, then who is? Cocking that fat chin. Of course it's Ming'er. A woman only needs to be a good wife and mother at home. Why should she be throwing herself out into the public's eye? The medicine sect will definitely fall into ruins if she takes over. If that's the case, why not give it my grandson? No matter what, he's still a man and deserves it. The people were aghast by the statement, their looks filled with shock at the old shrew. Who gave this woman such courage to say something so damning in front of the Lord? Seriously, is she really expecting Bai Changfeng to give the medicine sect to an outsider over his own granddaughter? As for Bai Changfeng, the true lord of the medicine sect, he's livid at this point. From red to green, then green to blue, he's ready to lose it. Slamming his fist against the old tree nearby, the old grandfather completely destroys the trunk and allows the bulk of that body to come crashing down at the impudent old shrew. Of course, there's no way old Madame Yi would just stand there to take the blunt of that fall, and dodged quickly to one side. However, as a result of this, it was Yi Ying who ended up suffering, because she couldn't move to begin with. Brother-in-law, what are you doing? The old lady was shocked, indicating to the two men that came with them. What are you still standing there for? Hurry and come help my granddaughter out from under this tree. If anything happens to her, I will have both your heads. But they didn't move. The two guards are members of the medicine sect, and the reason why they would push Yi Ying over earlier was to sucker up to the girl. Now that they're aware of Bai Changfeng's true attitude towards this family, there's no way they would continue to show a good face. In the end, no helping hands ever came, leaving the old shrew and her girl without support. Brother-in-law. Old Madame Yi was now huffing and puffing after seeing how much suffering Yi Ying was going through. What are you doing? You watched Inger grow up in person. How can you treat her like this over a wild child? Lu Zhong and his group were now shaking their heads at the blatant ignorance. This old shrew is truly stupid beyond reason. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Yi Ying, on the other hand, wasn't as stupid as her own grandmother. Tears running down from her eyes out of urgency, she wanted to get out of this mess to soothe the situation. But she knew it's going to be hopeless. Not after those damning words. Ho ho! Bai Changfeng's laugh was menacing and filled with mockery. So you are implying I should throw aside my own granddaughter and turn to protect Yi Ying? That's right. The old shrew's attitude alone was enough to make the man want to slap her across the face. Are you just that stupid? Or do you take me for an idiot instead? Clenching his fist, the old grandpa roars out furiously. This is my granddaughter, my own. Who is Yi Ying? She's only a girl from your Yi house. Why should I cast aside my own flesh and blood for her? Also, when have my medicine sect become someone else's? When have you become the one in charge? Indulgence with the face slapping 26. Though embarrassed, old Madame Ye's mouth continues to work. Why do you have to get so nitpicky about the details? Or are your feelings for my sister all fake? Is this how you treat me after she's gone? Tired now. Bai Changfeng painfully closes his eyes for a good moment before finally shooting them open. If Jinger knows about the way you are treating her granddaughter, then I'm sure she will support my decision. In a wave of his hand to order the guards, take the members of the Yi family away and expel them from my home. I never want to see them again. Wait, Lu Zhong hurries to cut in. My lord, there is still one matter we haven't settled yet. What is it? Bai Changfeng's cold face just became a dreadfully icy one, his voice dangerously angry. What is going on, say it? The hell? All I did was have a fight with those two old farts. What did I miss during this short period? As a result of that extreme fright from being pointed out, the man from the Moon Slicer sect promptly plopped to the ground, his face and body showing utter terror. This is not my fault, it's really not my fault. Just now it was Ying who came to seek me out. I'm only doing what she instructed. I really didn't mean to accuse the lady. Please let me go, I'm begging you. After saying that, the man then repeatedly banged his head for forgiveness until his forehead's bleeding. No one said anything in the venue. It's so quiet that even the bristling breeze could be heard. But more than the eerie silence, they're more preoccupied with looking over to the certain maiden that's being pinned to the ground by the collapsed tree. Lord Bai, I know I am wrong. It was Ying, it was her. She seduced me with pretty words of her becoming the future heir, and that I would be able to become a member of the medicine sect. I was stupid. That's why I made such a mistake. Please give me another chance. I beg you. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. He didn't say it at first, mainly due to his assumption of Bai Yin not daring to kill him for it, but also the reassurance of Yi Ying saying she would protect him after the incident. But now there's no longer that insurance. Bai Changfeng, on the other hand, hadn't said a word since the truth came out. However, the old grandpa's aura alone was enough to send those nearby shirking back in fear. It seems that over the years many of you have gotten the idea that I'm no longer in charge after not taking part in the daily functions of the medicine sect. Still expression and unreadable. Ignoring the fact that Bai Yin is my granddaughter, even if she is not, I would still not permit such a thing to happen while under my rule. Blood now completely leaves the kowtowing man's face. Since you made the mistake, then your own sect can deal with you. Guards drag him away and hand him over to the Moon Slicer sect. Bai Changfeng's voice now grew mountainous, crushing the person's spirit until he barely breathed. Please have mercy. I know my fault. The kowtowing motion only increased in pace as he begged on the floor. Indulgence with the face slapping 27. The expression of the man grew even more flustered as he knows full well that if he's handed back to his sect, they would never let him live. Tow him away. At the order, two guards promptly moved forward to drag the man's struggling body away, his appearance now looking no different from a rabid dog. I had only intended to expel you three out of my home, and that's it. But to think there were so many things you did behind my back. Bai Changfeng's sneering face couldn't be any more obvious. When did my medicine sect become your family's? Or do you believe I'm so old that I'm already dead in your eyes? His words were meant for Yi Ying and her grandmother, but also as a warning to the rest of the people with ulterior motives. Great-grandfather. The soft voice of the little steam bun dissolves the anger from the old grandpa, blinking those big innocent eyes. This bad woman wants to steal away my father, and she even said my mother is not worthy of him. Also, she has a brother who insulted mother, that she can only be his concubine. You must beat the bad people, otherwise I won't recognize you. The old grandpa's complexion fluctuated intensely right there. Nevertheless, he still manages to suppress the anger and forced out a loving smile in order to not scare his great-grandkid. Good child, just wait for great-grandfather to get even for you. As reassurance, Bai Changfeng then rubs the boy's head to show how much he cares for him. A person who only knows how to loaf around my home actually dares to steal my granddaughter's husband? Ha ha ha, as the master of this place, how come I didn't know the Yi family's influence is to such a degree? The elders present could definitely feel the Lord's anger now. Silent and not moving. None wanted to provoke the raging lion in his furious state. How laughable. To think all these years none would tell me about any of this. Inhaling deeply, Bai Changfeng's voice grew stern and harsh. Since they committed the crime, then it's only proper that they pay the price. Someone come, break their legs, and throw the 3 members of the Yi family out of my home. They can fend for themselves out there. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases in the past. Old Madam Yi never trespassed the limit of his patience. That's why he never really punished any of them. But now, Bai Yan was his bottom line. There's no way he would allow anyone to humiliate or bully the granddaughter, in which he went through so much to retrieve. So what if they're related in some way? Screw that. Humph, at least you did one thing right. Rennie snorts from one side. If no punishment were to be given today, the second elder would have definitely taken matters into his own hands and disposed of the Yi family afterwards. But now that he's seen Bai Changfeng do it, his old heart definitely felt better. No, Yi Ying's pair of eyes were popping bigger than what's normally possible, trembling all over. Please, I know it did wrong. I beg of you, granduncle, let me redeem myself. I can be Bai Yan's slave and do anything she asks. Are you trying to continue to pester my old pops by sticking to my mother's side? Though innocent and melting in his voice, Bai Xiaqin's question was right on point. Making a guilty look in her eyes for a brief second, Ying nevertheless presses it back in and pushed forward with her lies. I really didn't mean it like that. I know I'm wrong, and is just trying to ask for forgiveness. I'm willing to do anything she asks. Indulgence with the face slapping. 28. Bai Changfeng was honestly regretting right now after seeing how the shameless girl was still trying to scheme when things have progressed to such an extent. Back then, what was I thinking? What sort of drug did I take to let these people move into my home? I must have been crazy. Mother, Auntie is right. We should have fed the bad woman to the demon beasts. Bai Xiaqin mutters this with discontent. I don't want to see her again. Although the little steambun still hasn't fully accepted Ditsong. But still, he's not going to permit another woman marrying his old man. Yi Ying's body shook. Covering the resentment in her eyes, she continues to put on a pitiful face. Miss Bai Yan, I'm really not trying to steal your man. If I go with you, I can even help you look after him, so he doesn't sneak away to nab a fish. What man out there in this world doesn't like to steal a bite? Especially the good-looking kind. Bai Yan didn't respond to the girl's words. Instead, she only made a shallow smile, for she could already sense the familiar scent coming right behind herself. Ditsong, someone is saying bad things about you. What do you think? Should I believe it? Bai Changfeng naturally didn't miss this scene, going green on the spot like he's seen a horror show. Jumping, this guy is my great-grandson's father? It is him. The son's affirmative nod only made the old grandfather's face uglier than before, because it now means he's lost his granddaughter before he could even have some sweet family time. Brother, Di Xiaowan puckers her lips in indignation. This woman is still trying to have wishful thinking about you. Are you just going to stand there and let sister-in-law suffer? I really don't know how Ying can still say something like that earlier, when she's already stuck in such a situation. Originally, the man's aura was like the splitting breeze, enchanting and soothing. However, it swiftly changed to an extreme cold version after hearing the girl's word. Before Ying could even say more, an intense stare has already swooped over her existence and cuts it off like she's had a frog jump in there. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Why does such a man have to like her and not me? Biting those lips hard, the bitch was oozing with resentment as her fists clenched into a tight ball. This kind of woman, Ditsong then reveals a malicious grin, is better off dead. Is better off dead. Why? Why are you? Trembling in disbelief, Yi Ying's very existence was filled with fear now. Slandering me in front of my wife is punishable by death. Making a sneer, the man then casts a glance to his sister. Xiaowan, Go drag her away and toss this girl into the demon forest. The demon beasts in there will entertain her. Literally jumping 3 feet into the air in glee. Brother, you are thinking the exact same thing as me. I also think the demon forest is the best home for these people. Finally, Yi Ying's struggling body has finally given up. Going numb, she had the look of panic and desperation when turning to Bai Changfeng for help. She's praying that the last ounce of relationship she shares with the old grandpa would help in this case. Sadly, all this is your own self-doing. Bai Changfeng didn't budge. Indulgence with the face-slapping 29. Boom! The last line of defense in Yi Ying's heart finally shatters as well. Squatting there on the ground, she makes a heart-wrenching screech as tears of blood oozed out of those eyeballs. Pull her away so she doesn't make a scene here. Wrinkling his old brow, Bai Changfeng waves his sleeve to signal the guards. Yes, m'lord. At that, 2 men promptly stepped forward to drag the injured bitch from underneath the collapsed tree, and out they went. You go and keep an eye on them too. Make sure they do it right. Song also shoots a look at his sister, indicating her to move it. The demon princess then swears by it by patting her own chest. If any of those brats dare harm my friends, then I will have brother deal with them. Awesome. In response, Yi shouts with glee in her voice, those eyes sparkling with light. These 3 girls are obviously more interested in the demon beasts, rather than wasting their time at the venue here. After a while, they were already gone and out of sight. Baddie father. Bai Xiaqin's big eyes were dripping with water as he spoke. Yi Ying also has a brother named Yi Ming. He's the other person who came to make trouble for mother from before. And guess what? He said mother can only be his concubine and nothing else. Song's face instantly darkened and released his suffocating aura across the entire venue. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Let him go accompany his sister then. Since they are so lacking in partners, I'm sure the residences inside the demon forest wouldn't mind keep them company. After the 2 finishes with their experience, they can then be used as food. The man's words were so frightening that every individual present were shrinking their buttholes in. They knew exactly what Song meant by experience, and neither male or female would like to go through such a traumatic thing. Bai Xiaqin would of course be pleased by this. Jollying in his steps, the boy intends to personally pass on the message to his aunties, so they wouldn't let Yi Ying and her family have an easy ending. A humph. It was then Bai Changfeng decides to interrupt the awkward mood with his cough. Yenna, why don't you introduce this man to grandfather? Oh, only then realizing her lack of manners, the reddish figure puckers her lips like a child. Him? He is my son's easy-to-come-by father. Xiaqin's easy-to-come-by father? This, what sort of introduction is that? Bai Changfeng was gobsmacked by this. Only after a good moment of gawking did he return to his old jolly self. Yenner, can you stay longer? In a few days it will be grandfather's birthday. Originally Bai Yan had intended to leave right after the convention, but now that she's been informed of the celebration, she simply couldn't say no. Okay. It doesn't matter if it is delayed for a few days. Besides, going to the demon realm can be done at any time. Song didn't object either. The man knows how important this must be for his future wife. Hence the blossoming smile of wondrous beauty. Lord Bai, congratulations on finding your granddaughter. After all the dust has settled, the people of the various powers were all moving forward to give their words of praise and flattery. This granddaughter of yours is truly beyond compare. Indulgence with the face-slapping 30. Haha, all of you have good eyes. My granddaughter really is astounding and unprecedented. Laughing aloud without care, Bai Changfeng happily accepts the compliments. If it was in the past, these people would have at least secretly called this old grandpa shameless. But now they couldn't because Bai Yan was in every sense of the word excellent. Humph, Runny second, grumpily huffs a snort. What are you all so happy for? Yin Yin is my disciple first. In any case, she will always be our most precious disciple. Zhang Qi first, slightly raises a smile as well instead of going all huffy and grumpy, like his second brother. He's not angry at having to share his disciple. He only wants to give the girl his blessing. Fine, I'll leave things be then, Rini sighed. It's just that I have been robbed by this old fart several times before, so of course it will leave me with a bad taste. But if it's for my precious Yenner's sake, I will accept it. However, if the medicine sect tries to stop her from leaving, or try anything against her will, I won't let things slide. Grandfather. Bai Yin were all smiles. When is your birthday? Even now, the old grandfather's excited mood hasn't slowed down in the least, to the point where he had to wipe away some of those trickling tears when no one's looking. Right. I remember Zhangping said that the woman who adopted you is called Lan Yu? Is it the Lan House from the Luhua Kingdom? Let's do this then. You invite those whom you wish to come, and we will treat them as guests of honor. Okay. Bai Yan's smile was now reaching up to her eyes. Old Grandpa Lan is also my grandfather. His status in my heart will never change. Just that his temper isn't the best, and has a proud nature to his personality. I hope that everyone from the medicine sect could accommodate this when he comes. Oh yes, there's still Her Highness the Dowager. Thinking it through, she continues to go down her list. As a result of an incident in the past, it was only she and my disciple Nangong Zhuan who stood by my side when not knowing about my identity. Grandfather, could I also invite them both here for your celebration? I owe her a favor. For the sake of her too shifus face, Bai Yin didn't divulge about the embarrassing matters regarding the things related to the Holy Land. However, the Dowager's kindness has really touched her heart, so she couldn't ignore this. Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Putting the icing on the cake is extremely easy, but adding coal to the fire in the winter snow is not so simple. The friendship between you two is commendable. Bai Changfeng nods in approval. This birthday celebration is mainly to bring you back into the ancestral books and allow others to know of your status. If you wish to bring someone you are familiar with, then by all means, grandfather here has no complaints. As for that old Lord Lan, halting his words then, the old grandfather then eyes the crowd with a look of stern seriousness. He is to be treated in the same manner as I. Whoever dares to offend him will receive severe punishment. If it hadn't been for the Lan House and their kindness, then perhaps my granddaughter would have already perished from this world. That debt can never be repaid with something so meager. Yes, my lord. All of the members of the medicine sect answers in unison, their voices resoundingly loud and crisp. In the same way, Bai Changfeng words today have directly become a declaration to the other powers that old Lord Lan was to be treated like the man himself. Otherwise, it's a direct affront to the medicine sect of the highest order. Must not offend the Lan House. Must not offend the Lan House. These were the only thoughts running through these attendees' heads right now. Mustn't provoke the Lan House one. In recent days, the Lan family seems to have hit a string of bad luck lately. First it was the female ruler of the Fengqi kingdom, taking a liking to Lan Shaoling, the eldest grandson of the Lan House. But after the boy rejected her, the female queen then went ahead to declare it a national offense, thus creating a huge rift between two kingdoms. As to the other incident, it had much to do with Lan Xiaoyan, the second young master of that family. The righteous boy somehow got caught in a dispute with the young lord of the Blood Moon sect, and ended up breaking the other person's leg. To be clear, the public was already being quite considerate out of Bai Yan's existence. They are well aware of her relationship with that family by now, and of how the girl's not the biological daughter of Lan Yu, making her an unknown factor. If something were to break out, no one knows whether or not the woman would help or not. Right now, Lan Xiaoyan was currently kneeling inside the main hall with his head held low. The boy's awaiting judgment from his grandfather, so the place was dreadfully quiet. Father, this isn't entirely Xiaoyan's mistake. Who could have guessed that the young lord of the Blood Moon sect would try to rape a girl while inside our kingdom? When Dong Ruolin saw how her son's being kneeling there for a good half hour, the kind woman definitely felt distressed inside. However, since the grandfather hasn't said a word, she didn't dare to help. Am I angry because he hit that cockroach? Old Lord Lan's expression was hard. Being a man, One should have blood in their veins, that is fine. I don't believe Xiaoyan is wrong on that end either. What I am angry about is the boy being so rash. What if that person brought along helpers from the Blood Moon sect? Xiaoyan, by then not only will you not be able to save the girl, you will also drag yourself down. The boy's head only grew lower. Grandfather, I know my fault now. Since you know your fault, then do it right next time. When you get into a fight, come back first and tell me, understand? Grandson understands. The boy knows his grandpa was doing this for his sake, fearing he would suffer while outside. But he's a man, an upright and good man. If he sees a thug trying to rape a girl in open public, then there's no way he could remain indifferent. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. If I can't do as my heart tells me when injustice is before my eyes, then I don't deserve to protect this kingdom. If you understand, then that's good. As for the young lord from the Blood Moon sect, what's done is done. If they do come back to make trouble, I will hold them down. It doesn't matter anyways, I'm already an old bone. Slowly getting up from his master chair, Old Lord Lan's face was firm and resolute. Dong Ruolin had a look of worry. Father, should I go tell Yen'er about this matter? If she comes back, then the Blood Moon sect should back off. No one can go. Old Lord Lan roars out instantly. Yen'er's achievement today didn't come easy. Our family couldn't help her at all, so we mustn't be her baggage. I've inquired around already. The Blood Moon sect is a subordinate power of the medicine sect. Are you planning to pin the girl against a behemoth like that? But father. While she still wanted to say more, the old grandfather has already cut her off. I won't allow us to drag Yen'er down. It's not easy for her to have such strength. This time I will be the one to bear the repercussions. At this moment, Old Lord Lan's figure seems to have aged again. No longer straight or stoic in his back, the old man slightly camels down like a weak elder, thus causing the young boy to hurt immeasurably inside. Lan Xiaoyan doesn't regret hitting that cockroach from the Blood Moon sect, nor does he regret getting reprimanded, but mustn't provoke the Lan house too. But now, he's found that grandfather has aged more than he thought, and still needs to wipe his own ass afterwards. For that reason, his heart grew incredibly uncomfortable. Mother, am I wrong in all this? Lan Xiaoyan's voice devolved into a whimper. Startled over her son's question, Dong Ruolin deflates as well. If you have the strength to back up yourself, then anything you do is justified. But if you don't, then you will only drag your grandfather down. Strength. All of this is because of strength. Lan Xiaoyan couldn't help but clench his fist in frustration. For once in his lifetime, he's never desired strength this hard before. Blood Moon sect. Sect leader. The two guards who brought the youngster back shivered hard. It's the Lan house. Lan house. Originally Lu Yang was still fuming in that second. However, the anger was quickly transformed into uncertainty. Which Lan house are you indicating? There is just no way around it. That word is like a taboo, so I must make sure. Reporting to sect leader. The one who injured the young lord is the Lan house's second grandson, Lan Xiaoyan of the Luhua kingdom. First it was green, then to white, then it was to a reddish-purple color of extreme fright. The family you are talking about, do they have a married-off daughter by the name of Lan Yu? The guards were surprised and met the man's eye. How did sect leader know? Yes, there is a Lan Yu. That Lan Xiaoyan injured the young lord, this debt. Bastards. Lu Yang's hand was crunchingly loud when he smashed it into one of the guards' face. Sect leader. Holding that bruised-up cheek, the guard looks up in confusion. Get this twerp to stand up right this instant. Why is he acting dead in front of me? If he's going to make trouble, then he better go solve it himself. Don't go dragging our Blood Moon sect with him. In his fit of rage, the master of the place ended up kicking his son Lu Su repeatedly, until everyone was gawking their eyes now. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases arg. This twerp has always been a troublemaker, but why does he have to go provoke the Lan house? That is the Lan house. The lord of the medicine sect have already spoken that the old chief of that family must be treated like the man himself. Yet this insufferable twerp just has to go provoke the number one taboo right now. Slowly coming out of his dizzying state, Lu Su still hasn't gotten enough time to figure out the current situation when a storm of punches came flying down at his body. Father, what are you doing? Ah, don't hit anymore. I am your son, your son. The boy shrieks from the pain added to his already injured leg. I'm wishing with all my heart that you are not right now. Lu Yang shakes profusely due to the seething anger. Look at what you've done. Why did you go mess with the lawn house? Why did you have to go provoke the lawn house? Lu Su became absolutely stunned by his old man's outbreak. Father, what's the matter? It's just a tiny little family in the Lu Hui kingdom. What's to worry about? Oh, I know you must be worried about that granddaughter Bai Yan. There's nothing to fret. The girl may be in name part of that family, but she's not a biological one. They have no blood relationship. Besides, we are working under the medicine sect. Lu Yang didn't even want to waste his energy on this nonsense. Whipping his sleeve at the boy's head to give him a good smack on the backhand. You will go this instant to apologize to the lawn house. I'm telling you, if you become the cause of the Blood Moon sect's demise, then I will never let you go. Mustn't provoke the lawn house 3. At the same time within the palace of the Fengqi kingdom, a certain beautifully dressed woman was currently loafing around on the dragon chair with some wine in hand. Due to the person's lazy demeanor, the fluid was constantly dripping down the corner of those blossom lips as she gorged herself. Lan Xiaoling, what's so bad about me that you must keep rejecting my advances? Am I not beautiful enough? Or am I not outstanding in your eyes? If I am not good enough, then I can change. I can make myself more perfect. Yet you don't even give me a chance. Majesty. A eunuch hurriedly walks in from the front, his voice urgent. The first elder seeks an audience. However, before her words could be passed on to the person in question, a white-robed elder have already walked into the main hall. Arching his hand, my queen. Ho! Feng Wuan snarls sardonically. Who are you calling queen? I can't even decide my own marriage, so what point is there in me being in this post? Why don't you go find another to take up this spot, so I can go chase after Xiaoling? I need nothing, only his company as we wander the world freely. That's right, this ruling position didn't bring comfort for the love-struck girl, only binding rules and constraint. My queen, my visit today is only to ask you one question. The elder didn't get angry at all. On the contrary, he seems quite pleased instead. Do you really like that Lan Xiaoling? Visit my site on Cat Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Making a self-deprecating smile at herself, Feng Wuan's sorrowful face grew more apparent. I have known Xiaoling for 8 years, and have loved him ever since. For him, I'm willing to keep my harem empty. But what's the point when he doesn't love me at all? Taking another sip from her wine cup. Originally, I thought even if he doesn't love me, he would still hold some affections. That's why I threatened him not so long ago. But now, not only did he not answer my plea, he's now completely ignoring me. Did I not do enough? I can change, I really can change. If he's not willing to marry into the Fengqi kingdom, then I can abandon this post and go to his home. As long as he says it, then I will. My queen, if you want to go to him, then go. I will find someone to safeguard the kingdom while you are gone. The old man's iris flashed meaningfully as he spoke. Pung. As a result of that statement, the wine jug that was already wobbling constantly by the chair handle have now smashed onto the floor, causing a pungent smell of alcohol to stain the hall. Do you really mean it? Feng Wuan's surprised face shoots up with excitement, causing that beautiful face to turn dazzling. Of course I mean it. The old man gives a mild nod. I had intended earlier to fulfill your wishes after learning of Bai Yan's status within the Holy Land. Shame that news broke out. The woman's not a genuine daughter of that lawn house. That's why I wanted more time to think about it. Mustn't provoke the lawn house 4. Prior to everything, Bai Yan did not have any communication with the Lan family, and only ever made contact after she returned with her son. That's why no one could figure out the relationship between the two parties. But the old man dons a shallow smile. Just the other day I have managed to get wind of some new information. What information? Feng Wuan grew a tad irritated at being baited. There's no question she wants to know the secret. After all, it couldn't be anything small if it could change this old fart's opinion to such extent. I heard that Bai Yan's biological mother is Bai Ning of the medicine sect, the young lady of that power. Due to the woman being missing for many years, the lord of that place is now showing immense gratitude to the Lan family by issuing a decree. Anyone who meets the old family chief of that household is now to treat the elder like the lord himself. My queen. Wrinkling that old brow, the elder seems to not understand the lack of response. When he was but a young master of the Lan family, all of you were preventing me from going to him. Now that his family is with background, you are pushing me to him? Even if you can be this shameless doesn't mean I can. The elder's complexion completely changes. My queen, this is a golden opportunity. Enough. I don't want to see anyone right now. If you want me to continue staying inside the kingdom, then don't bother me. After saying this, Feng Wuan was done speaking with the elder and closed herself off. In light of the blatant dismissal, the senior nevertheless continues to pester the woman until he too was at a loss. In the end, both parties separated on negative terms. After the footsteps faded away, Feng Wuan slowly opened her eyes and picked up the wine jug. Shaoling, perhaps we really will have to go our separate ways in the future. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. Back at the beginning, it was everyone else who deemed Lan Shaoling to be too inferior, while she herself didn't care. But now, the situation has been reversed, and it's herself who's not worthy of him. Lan House. Lan Shaoling was currently looking up into the open sky, as if he's thinking of something. Big brother. It's unsure when Lan Shaoyan had come, but the second grandson had somehow managed to sneak up behind his brother's back in the main courtyard. Are you thinking about her again? I'm sure Her Majesty is only saying those words in a moment of heat. She doesn't mean it. After all, the both of you have been friends for so many years. Retracting his gaze, the troubled boy turns to his younger brother. About the matter of you injuring the young lord of the Blood Moon sect. Is grandfather able to handle it? One person's fault is one person's responsibility. I don't need grandfather to clean up after me. Lan Shaoyan's voice turned hard. If nothing else, I will give him my legs and that's that. Grandpa is so old already. How can I bear to have him continue working so hard? What's more, the disaster is caused by me. I won't ever regret it. Do not worry. Lan Shaoling then pats his younger brother's shoulder. I will not turn a blind eye to this matter either. As long as the Lan house is around, then no one can hurt you. But big brother. The boy still wanted to speak, but was cut off by the other side. You are my younger brother, so your mistake is my responsibility. What's more, one cannot be too timid when representing our family. You did no wrong. Also, if you had turned a blind eye to something like that, then I really would have looked down upon you. By Chongfeng's birthday 1. Lan Shaoyan only grew more remorseful. If not for me, then perhaps the whole family wouldn't have had to worry so much. Young master, young master. It was then that a servant came running over, his breath panting still from the rush. This isn't good, young masters. Someone big is happening. What? What happened? Both boys were startled by that. Is it the Blood Moon sect? This possibility promptly causes the second grandson to drop a rock into his heart. Nevertheless, the fear quickly changed to a firmness never before seen in the boy's eye. Let's go, we will see first then decide. Patting his younger brother's shoulder, Lan Shaoling attempts to reassure the other side with his soft voice. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Giving a nod in return, Lan Shaoyan hurried to follow his older brother and the messenger. Main reception hall. Old Lord Lan was currently gawking his eyes out in his master chair, due to the impressive number of treasure boxes displayed before his very eyes. Grandfather, what is going on? Lan Shaoling asks, his brow furrowing hard at the odd scene. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases. At the moment, the old house master was still clouded in a mass of fog. That's why it took him so long to respond. However, before the old man could say a single word, Another servant of the household has already run over in haste to report. My lord, the elder of the Shadowless sect is wishing to seek an audience. Shadowless sect? A series of hissing sounds were filling up the place, as well as looks of surprise in the two brothers' face. Isn't it supposed to be people from the Blood Moon sect? Why is it the Shadowless sect? Xiaoyan, did you go and provoke them as well? Lan Xiaoling's complexion was seriously not looking so well at this point. The Blood Moon sect is hard enough to handle. Now there's a Shadowless sect? It seems we can't keep this matter from Bai Yin after all. I haven't had time to tell you boys. Stuttering, the old grandpa couldn't keep his cool at all. These things are all sent by those second-rate sects of the mainland. Skipping a beat at his grandfather's word, Lan Xiaoling widened his eyes in shock. Why would those sects send us gifts? What is going on here? I don't know either. Old Lord Lan also makes a frown then. Perhaps they've all gone crazy? Apart from this reason, he really couldn't think of any other reason. Just as he was discussing the reasons with his grandsons, the elder from the Shadowless sect have finally stepped into the main hall with the gift in hand. I'm assuming this must be Senior Lan? Senior Lan? Old Lord Lan was seriously taken aback by the form of address. Whether it be strength or seniority, the other side was by far leagues ahead of himself. Twitching in that mouth till it's now showing an awkward face. I am not worthy of such seniority, but do tell your reasoning for this visit? No. Your position in our heart is well deserving of being called senior. Making an awkward laugh himself, the elder from the Shadowless sect hurries to get to the point. I'm here to bring gifts and to congratulate your family. Now old Lord Lan was getting more and more confused, because it's one thing if only a single person came. But so many at once? There's no way this could be a coincidence. Thus making his heart more and more anxious by this point. Senior, you wouldn't mind me calling you Senior, right? Mind telling me what is happening? Why are all the powers out there sending my family gifts left and right? By Changfeng's birthday too. You don't know? The elder from the Shadowless sect exclaimed with amazement in his eyes. Did the medicine sect people not come to you yet? The news has spread across the whole continent already, and the hottest topic was of how fortunate the Lan family was in getting such good luck. But more than that, they're also making sure to convey one message in their conversations. It's better to provoke the Underlord than the Lan house. That's why the various powers are coming in droves to offer their gifts to this family. They don't want to leave a bad impression. I don't know anything. Old Lord Lan rolls his eyes. I only know that before you arrived at my home, I kept getting gifts sent to me by various powers. Don't tell me you are here to thank me for my grandson's act of beating the young lord of the Blood Moon sect, right? What does this have to do with Blood Moon sect? The guest raises a brow at the odd question, but before the miscommunication could be cleared up, it was then the servant who retreated earlier came running back. Not good, chief. The Blood Moon sect's people are here. The old grandpa literally jolted out of his seat. Where are they right now? In the inn they are here still. Ah! The servant quickly gives himself a wipe to clear those trickling sweat. They want me to present this visitation letter to you first. Visitation letter? The old man's expression quickly shifted from a stern one to a stunned look. Visit my site on Translation if you wish to read ahead of public releases, just like their grandfather. Lan Xiaoling and his younger brother was also looking at each other in shock. When did the Blood Moon sect become so polite that they would first send a visitations letter before coming to settle a score? It couldn't be. They want to first show politeness before drawing the knife? Let him come in then. In the end, old Lord Lan ends up doing as expected while rubbing his hand in a perturbed manner. If it's going to be a knife regardless, then let's get it over with directly. Yes, chief. After getting the order, the servant then hurried to retreat. Minutes later, a middle-aged man could be seen walking in with a crowd of followers behind his back. As a result of this domineering lineup, the occupants inside had to take a good moment to realize there's also a stretcher in the back as well. In fact, if not for the constant moaning and groaning of the boy's painful voice, old Lord Lan would have completely missed it entirely. Lord Lu, Seeing the intense air from the group, old Lord Lon knew this couldn't be good. Though his heart was also nervous and unsettled, he nevertheless presses on. This is indeed the fault of my grandson, however. Your son isn't entirely without fault either. If he didn't. Bang! But before the old grandpa could finish his words, Lu Yang have already instructed his men to stop and put the stretcher down, roaring now. What are you still lying down there for? Hurry and get your ass off of it. Stiffen his old face over the picture. What sort of situation is this? Isn't Lord Lu here to demand punishment for his son's injury? Yua. As a result of being thrown off of the stretcher, Lu Su's injured leg ended up making a severe impact on the floor. Father, Bang! Another stomp comes flying down at the injured boy's back, causing him to issue out a long wailing howl of agony. How could I have given birth to a coward like you? To think my son would do something like raping a maiden in broad daylight. Hurry and apologize to Chief Lon this instant. Whether he wants to beat you or punish you is all up to his decision. Screaming and bashing, Lu Yang's appearance was the epitome of a father enraged by his son's poor behavior. However, old Lord Lon clearly knows that the Blood Moon sect wasn't the reasonable type, and the counter-opposite of a righteous faction. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.